Your life is yours to shape and control, but too often energy is wasted worrying about what others think or comparing yourself to them. Every day, you make choices that can either move you forward or pull you into distraction, doubt, and unnecessary stress. This audiobook is about taking back that control and focusing entirely on your own growth, your own goals, and your own well-being. You will discover how to build routines that give you energy, set boundaries that protect your time, and strengthen habits that turn small actions into meaningful results. You will learn how to track progress honestly, embrace failure without fear, and replace anxious thoughts with practical plans you can act on immediately. Each chapter provides guidance that you can apply today, whether it is learning to say no with confidence, simplifying commitments to protect your focus, or celebrating small wins to reinforce your progress and self-belief. This is not theory. It is a practical guide to changing how you live every single day. By following these steps, you will begin to notice changes in how you feel, how you handle challenges, and how much energy you have for what truly matters. The goal is not to imitate others or meet outside expectations, but to focus on building your own life in a way that is sustainable, productive, and empowering. You will walk away with tools to improve your mindset, strengthen your resilience, and take daily actions that bring real results. Stick with this audiobook and you will gain clarity on your priorities, a stronger sense of purpose, and the confidence to act without being pulled by the opinions or distractions of others. It is about mastering yourself, shaping your habits, and creating a life that reflects your values and ambitions. By the end, you will understand exactly what it takes to focus on yourself and make progress every single day. Chapter 1. Focus daily on growth, not comparison to others. When people spend too much time looking at the lives of others, they lose sight of their own direction. Comparison is a trap that slowly steals energy, clarity, and motivation. Every time someone looks at another person's progress and measures it against their own, they shift focus away from the only area they have real control over, their own growth. The truth is simple but often forgotten. Improvement is a personal journey, not a competition. Each person carries a different past, a unique set of challenges, and an individual timeline. Measuring progress against someone else's path is unfair and destructive. Focusing on personal growth instead of comparison allows people to take back power over their own lives, creating momentum toward meaningful change. The human tendency to compare begins early. Children compare grades in school, teenagers compare looks and popularity, and adults compare careers, wealth, and achievements. In today's world, where images of success are broadcast constantly through social media, this habit becomes even stronger. It feels natural to measure self-worth against what others display. Yet, this constant comparison distracts from personal goals. The energy spent analyzing others could be invested in building skills, strengthening health, or deepening knowledge. Growth demands attention, discipline, and patience, but comparison destroys focus. To make real progress, the habit must be reversed. Shift energy inward and measure progress only against who you were yesterday. Growth is not measured by how you stand against another person, but by how you stand against your own past self. If yesterday you avoided responsibility but today you take one small step forward, that is growth. If last month you gave up easily, but this month you persist a little longer, that is growth. Progress may look invisible when compared to the lives of others, but when measured personally, it becomes undeniable. This personal standard is the only honest and sustainable one, because life is not uniform. Everyone carries unseen battles and hidden struggles, and comparing your chapter to someone else's story creates false expectations. Personal focus brings freedom, while comparison brings chains. One of the strongest reasons to stop comparing is the damage it does to self-worth. Every comparison sends a message that you are either above or below someone else. If you feel above, arrogance grows. If you feel below, insecurity rises. Both outcomes are harmful. Arrogance prevents humility and continued growth, while insecurity weakens confidence and belief in your potential. Neither path leads to progress. When you shift focus to your own improvement, the need to feel above or below disappears. You measure yourself against your own standards, which removes false pride and destructive doubt. You learn to respect your progress while still striving to improve. This balance creates resilience and inner strength. Daily growth requires practical steps, not just ideas. Begin each morning by setting a personal standard. Decide what improvement looks like for you today. It could be reading 10 pages of a book, completing a workout, writing a plan for the week, or having one honest conversation. These actions may appear small, but they are investments in your own development. When practiced consistently, they accumulate into long-term transformation. At night, review the day honestly. Ask yourself not whether you did better than someone else, but whether you did better than you did yesterday. This daily review builds accountability and keeps focus centered where it belongs. A powerful way to strengthen focus on growth is to create measurable goals. Instead of vague intentions like be healthier or be more disciplined, set specific standards. Exercise 4 times per week, wake up at 6 in the morning, or save a set amount of money monthly. These measurable targets give you something to track against yourself. Each time you meet your own standard, confidence grows. This practice makes comparison with others less tempting because progress becomes visible and concrete within your own life. You see results because you are looking at your own path, not someone else's highlight reel. Social media creates one of the greatest dangers for comparison. People scroll through endless images of wealth, beauty, and success, forgetting that most of these displays are carefully crafted illusions. Comparing yourself to filtered and selective snapshots of others creates frustration and envy. A practical solution is to limit social media exposure. If you cannot eliminate it completely, then control the time you spend on it. Use that saved time to read, learn, exercise, or build skills. Every hour spent focusing inward adds value. Every hour spent comparing online subtracts it. Protecting your mind from comparison is just as important as protecting your body from unhealthy food. What you consume shapes how you think. Another essential step in focusing on growth is to recognize your own unique journey. Life does not unfold the same for everyone. Some people succeed early, while others succeed later. Some face heavy obstacles, while others appear to have smooth paths. Accepting that your journey is your own frees you from destructive expectations. When setbacks come, view them not as proof of failure, but as part of your specific path. Each challenge teaches resilience and strength. Comparing struggles to others blinds you to the lessons hidden inside them. Growth is not about skipping difficulty, but about developing the character to rise through it. Discipline plays a central role in daily growth. Discipline means choosing progress even when it feels uncomfortable. It is easier to look at others than to confront your own weaknesses. But true growth happens when you face your weaknesses directly and work on them consistently. That may mean waking up earlier, saying no to distractions, or doing the work even when motivation feels low. Comparison wastes discipline because it shifts energy outward. Growth uses discipline because it directs energy inward. Each discipline choice strengthens the habit of focusing on yourself, making it easier with time. Another obstacle in the path of growth is the human desire for approval. When people compare themselves to others, they often seek validation from outside. Approval becomes the measure of success. But this approval is unreliable. It changes with opinions, trends, and moods. Building your life on it is unstable. True growth comes from self-approval earned through consistent effort. When you set your own goals and meet them, you build quiet confidence. You no longer need others to tell you that you are doing well because you know it through your actions. This independence from external approval is one of the greatest freedoms you can achieve. Focusing daily on growth also requires patience. Improvement is gradual. People who compare themselves to others often feel behind and rush to catch up. This impatience leads to frustration and giving up. But growth is not a race. It is the steady practice of becoming stronger, wiser, and more disciplined over time. Small progress, made consistently, is far more powerful than sudden bursts of effort driven by comparison. Patience allows you to stay committed, trust the process, and continue building without being shaken by others' achievements. To make growth a daily habit, create systems that support it. Systems are routines and structures that make improvement automatic. For example, preparing healthy meals ahead of time supports better eating habits. Setting a bedtime and wake-up schedule supports consistent energy. Having a study plan supports learning. When systems are strong, growth becomes easier and comparison becomes weaker. You no longer wonder how others are living because you are too busy living with discipline and purpose. Systems protect your focus and multiply your progress. Reflection is another essential tool for daily growth. Take time to look back at your progress honestly. Write in a journal, record your achievements, or simply review your actions at the end of each week. Reflection allows you to see how far you have come and where you still need to improve. Without reflection, it is easy to fall into the trap of thinking you are not improving. With reflection, you gain clarity about your direction. This clarity is what keeps you focused inward rather than outward. Every person must also learn to celebrate their progress. When you reach a milestone, no matter how small, acknowledge it. This does not mean boasting or seeking approval, but quietly respecting your own effort. Celebrating personal growth reinforces motivation and strengthens discipline. Comparison often prevents celebration because people feel their achievement is smaller than someone else's. But every step forward deserves recognition. When you celebrate your growth, you feed your confidence and fuel your next step. There will always be people ahead of you in some areas and behind you in others. This truth makes comparison meaningless. The only fair standard is yourself. If you are stronger, wiser, and more disciplined than yesterday, you are winning. If you are moving closer to your goals with patience and persistence, you are succeeding. Growth measured against others is an illusion. Growth measured against yourself is reality. This focus requires constant practice. The habit of comparing is deeply ingrained, but habits can be broken. Each day you choose to focus inward. The habit grows weaker. Each time you track your own progress instead of another's, you strengthen your independence. Over weeks, months, and years, this practice builds unshakable confidence. You become grounded, resilient, and free. The greatest reward of focusing on growth instead of comparison is peace. When you no longer measure your worth against others, you free yourself from envy, insecurity, and restlessness. You begin to live with clarity and discipline. Your attention turns to building, improving, and progressing. This peace is not passive, it is active, fueled by daily effort and commitment. It is the peace of knowing you are moving forward on your own path, regardless of what anyone else is doing. In the end, life is not about who you surpassed or who surpassed you. It is about who you became compared to who you were. The choice is always available. Waste energy comparing or invest energy growing. One path leads to frustration. The other leads to fulfillment. Focus daily on growth and every day becomes a step closer to the life you are capable of building. Chapter 2. Build clear routines that support your energy and goals. Your life will only change when your daily routines change, because routines shape your energy, your focus, and the results you create. Without clear routines, days become scattered, energy is wasted on unplanned choices, and progress slows down. With strong routines, life gains structure, discipline, and direction. Every morning, afternoon, and evening can either push you forward or pull you backward, and the deciding factor is the habits you practice consistently. Building routines is not about being rigid or robotic. It is about protecting your energy and aligning your daily actions with your bigger goals. Many people underestimate how much energy they lose through lack of structure. Waking up without a plan leads to wasted hours, constant distractions, and reactive decision-making. By the end of the day, they feel drained but unaccomplished. Energy is not only about physical strength, it is also about mental clarity and emotional balance. Clear routines protect this energy by reducing decision fatigue. When you know what you must do and when you must do it, you conserve energy for important tasks instead of wasting it on constant choices. A morning routine, for example, allows you to start the day with focus instead of confusion. The key to building routines that support your energy and goals is intentional design. You cannot copy someone else's schedule and expect it to work for you, because your body, responsibilities, and goals are unique. The process begins with identifying your priorities. Ask yourself what matters most right now. Is it improving your health, building a career, strengthening relationships, or developing new skills? Once you know the priority, you can design routines around it. Without clarity on priorities, routines become meaningless repetition. With clarity, routines become powerful tools that direct every part of your life toward your chosen goals. A strong morning routine sets the tone for the entire day. Waking up at a consistent time anchors your internal clock and regulates energy. Simple practices like stretching, drinking water, journaling, or reading for 15 minutes can give your mind and body a strong start. What matters is not the specific activity but the intention behind it. The first hour of the day is the foundation of your focus, and starting it with purpose builds momentum. Avoid beginning the day by checking your phone or diving straight into outside demands. Protect that first hour as a space for yourself, because it will influence the hours that follow. Equally important is building routines during the middle of the day. Many people start strong but lose energy as the hours pass. To maintain momentum, schedule short breaks that refresh your body and mind. Standing, walking, breathing deeply, or simply pausing for a few minutes can restore clarity. Without these routines, stress builds silently and reduces productivity. Energy management is not about pushing yourself endlessly. It is about knowing when to recover so you can sustain performance. Aligning work sessions with your natural energy peaks also makes routines more effective. If you have the most focus in the morning, schedule demanding tasks then, and save lighter tasks for later hours. Evening routines are often ignored, but they are critical for long-term progress. How you end the day influences how you begin the next one. A consistent sleep routine allows your body to recover, your mind to recharge, and your energy to rebuild. Disconnecting from screens, reading something calming, or practicing gratitude before sleep prepares you for deeper rest. Without this, people carry stress into the night, leading to poor sleep and sluggish mornings. A strong evening routine closes the day with reflection and resets your energy for tomorrow. Building routines is not about doing everything at once. Start with 1 or 2 small practices that align with your goals. If your goal is health, begin with a routine of daily movement. If your goal is focus, create a routine of working in distraction-free blocks of time. Once a habit feels stable, add another. Trying to build too many routines at once often leads to failure and frustration. Growth comes from steady, manageable changes that accumulate over weeks and months. These routines become second nature, guiding your actions without requiring constant effort. Another important part of routines is flexibility. Life is unpredictable, and strict perfection is impossible. If you miss a practice, the key is to return the next day without guilt or self-criticism. Flexibility allows you to adjust routines during travel, unexpected events, or shifts in priorities. The goal is consistency, not perfection. A routine is a tool to support your energy and goals, not a prison to trap you. Recognizing this balance keeps routines sustainable over the long term. Tracking progress strengthens routines further. When you record your actions daily, you create visible proof of consistency. This record builds confidence and motivation. For example, tracking workouts, journaling habits, or time spent studying allows you to see progress clearly. Without tracking, it is easy to forget how much you have already achieved. Visible progress reminds you that routines are working, even when results are not yet dramatic. This reinforcement helps you stay disciplined through periods of slow growth. One of the greatest benefits of routines is the sense of stability they bring. In a world filled with uncertainty, routines give structure. They reduce chaos and provide predictable anchors that keep you grounded. Even when challenges arise, routines give you something solid to hold on to. For example, when stress levels rise, returning to your breathing exercises or journaling practice helps restore balance. When work becomes overwhelming, knowing that you will review tasks each morning prevents panic. Stability creates resilience, and resilience is built through consistent routines. Another benefit is the alignment of actions with long-term goals. Without routines, people act on impulse, and impulses rarely align with vision. With routines, every day becomes a small investment in the future. If you dream of financial freedom, routines of budgeting and saving create it. If you aim for strong health, routines of exercise and nutrition build it. If you want personal growth, routines of reading, reflection, and discipline sustain it. Goals remain dreams without structure. Routines turn them into reality. Energy protection is one of the deepest reasons to create routines. Each person has a limited supply of mental, emotional, and physical energy each day. Unclear days drain this supply quickly, leaving little left for meaningful work. Structured days, on the other hand, preserve energy by reducing waste. When you know what comes next, you avoid decision fatigue and emotional stress. This preserved energy can then be directed into actions that matter most. Over time, this efficient use of energy creates massive results compared to scattered effort. Routines also shape identity. Every action you repeat consistently becomes part of who you are. When you build routines of discipline, you become a disciplined person. When you build routines of learning, you become a knowledgeable person. When you build routines of health, you become a strong person. Identity is not formed by single acts, but by daily repetition. Each routine you practice is a vote for the kind of person you wish to become. This understanding gives routines deeper meaning and motivates consistency. To strengthen routines, create an environment that supports them. If your goal is to read every night, place a book beside your bed. If your goal is to exercise, prepare your clothes in advance. If your goal is to eat healthy, stock your kitchen with nourishing food. The environment shapes behavior, often more than willpower. A supportive environment makes routines easier to follow, while a distracting environment makes them harder. By designing your surroundings intentionally, you make success the natural choice instead of the difficult one. Finally, the process of building routines requires patience. Lasting change is not created overnight. It takes weeks of repetition before a routine feels natural. During this time, discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation rises and falls, but discipline carries you through. Once routines are established, they generate their own momentum. Actions that once felt difficult become automatic, freeing mental space for higher goals. The patience to build and maintain routines is the foundation of all lasting progress. The life you want depends on the routines you practice. Clear routines protect your energy, give direction to your actions, and align your daily choices with your larger goals. Without them, days slip away without purpose, and energy is lost to distractions. With them, you create structure, stability, and forward movement. Every morning, every afternoon, and every evening becomes an opportunity to reinforce who you are becoming. By building routines intentionally and practicing them consistently, you design a life of focus, growth, and achievement. Chapter 3: Design boundaries that protect your time and emotional space. You cannot live a focused and fulfilled life if you allow everyone and everything to pull you in every direction, which is why designing strong boundaries is one of the most important decisions you can ever make. Boundaries are not walls that separate you from the world. They are lines that define what you allow and what you protect. They guard your time, preserve your energy, and give you the space to grow without being drained by constant demands. Without boundaries, people end up exhausted, resentful, and disconnected from their true priorities. With boundaries, life becomes calmer, decisions become clearer, and relationships become healthier. The first truth about boundaries is that no one else will create them for you. If you do not decide how your time and energy should be spent, others will decide for you. Friends may expect constant availability, co-workers may pile tasks onto you, and even family may unknowingly consume more than you can give. By saying yes to everything, you quietly say no to your own needs. The cost of living without boundaries is invisible at first, but it grows over time: fatigue, frustration, and loss of focus. The moment you start protecting your time, you regain control of your life. A practical way to begin is by identifying your limits. Ask yourself which areas of your life drain you the most. It could be excessive phone calls, endless social obligations, or work responsibilities that extend far beyond your role. Once you recognize the areas that steal your energy, you can design clear boundaries around them. For example, setting limits on when you answer messages or defining specific hours for focused work immediately reduces stress. Boundaries are not about cutting people off. They are about protecting your mental and emotional health so you can give your best where it truly matters. Time is one of the most valuable resources, and without boundaries, it slips away unnoticed. When every request is answered with a quick yes, hours vanish and progress stalls. Designing boundaries around your schedule is an act of self-respect. This may mean blocking out time for exercise, learning, or rest, and treating those blocks as non-negotiable. It may mean saying no to meetings that add no value or limiting conversations that go in circles. Protecting your time is not selfish, it is responsible. Only by guarding your hours can you direct them toward meaningful growth. Emotional space is equally vital. Constant exposure to negativity, conflict, or criticism can slowly drain your spirit. Protecting emotional space begins with being mindful of the people and environments you allow into your life. You are influenced by the voices around you, and if those voices are constantly critical or demanding, your focus suffers. Boundaries here might mean stepping back from toxic relationships, limiting time spent with people who complain endlessly or refusing to participate in arguments that serve no purpose. Protecting your emotional space allows you to stay centered, calm, and focused on building a stronger self. Communicating boundaries is another essential skill. Boundaries are only effective when expressed clearly. Many people struggle with this because they fear disappointing others, but silence leads to misunderstanding and resentment. Communicating a boundary does not require anger or harshness. It requires honesty and firmness. A simple statement such as, "I will not be available after this time," or "I need to focus on this task right now," sets the expectation without hostility. Over time, people learn to respect the limits you set, and those who do not respect them reveal their lack of regard for your well-being. Consistency is what makes boundaries real. Setting a limit once and then ignoring it creates confusion. When you hold firm to your boundaries, you send a clear message to yourself and others that your time and energy matter. At first, it may feel uncomfortable to enforce these lines, but each time you do, you build strength and self-respect. Consistency transforms boundaries from occasional attempts into lasting protections that shape your life. Boundaries also allow you to separate what belongs to you from what belongs to others. Many people carry unnecessary weight by taking responsibility for problems that are not theirs to solve. This habit drains energy and creates resentment. A healthy boundary means recognizing what is yours to manage and what must be left to others. You can support without rescuing, encourage without controlling, and care without overextending. By doing so, you preserve your energy for what is truly your responsibility. Rest is another area where boundaries must be designed. In a world that celebrates constant busyness, it is easy to feel guilty for taking time to recharge. Yet without boundaries around rest, burnout becomes inevitable. Protecting moments of silence, leisure, or solitude is not laziness. It is preparation. Your mind and body require recovery to stay strong. Whether it is a quiet evening, a walk outside, or a day free from obligations, these boundaries ensure your energy is renewed and your focus sharpened. Digital boundaries are increasingly important in today's world. Phones, notifications, and endless online content can easily consume hours of attention. Without limits, digital noise invades both time and emotional space. Setting boundaries here may mean turning off notifications, scheduling times to check messages, or creating phone-free zones in your day. These practices restore mental clarity and free your attention for tasks that align with your goals. Digital boundaries are not about avoiding technology, they are about controlling it so it does not control you. Boundaries also influence the quality of relationships. Healthy relationships respect individuality and space. When you establish clear boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. This creates healthier dynamics built on respect rather than obligation. People who truly value you will honor your limits, while those who resist them often reveal that their interest lies more in their benefit than in your well-being. Boundaries, therefore, become a filter that strengthens real connections and weakens draining ones. Another powerful aspect of boundaries is the clarity they bring. When you protect your time and emotional space, you create room to focus on what matters. Without this clarity, life becomes scattered with competing demands, leaving little space for reflection or growth. With clear boundaries, you can focus on goals, build habits, and nurture the relationships that truly matter. Boundaries are not just protective, they are also creative, because they carve out the space needed to build something meaningful. It is important to remember that boundaries must evolve as your life changes. The limits that serve you today may not be the same ones you need in the future. As your goals grow, you may need to protect more time for focused work. As your relationships deepen, you may adjust the space you allow for connection. Boundaries are living decisions, flexible enough to adapt but firm enough to protect. Reviewing them regularly ensures they continue to serve your growth. At the heart of boundaries lies self-respect. When you design limits that protect your time and emotional space, you are telling yourself that your life matters, your goals matter, and your peace matters. This self-respect becomes a foundation for confidence and strength. Others begin to see you differently, not as someone who can be pulled in every direction, but as someone who lives with clarity and purpose. This shift transforms not only how you feel about yourself, but also how the world responds to you. The process of building boundaries may not be easy. You may face resistance, pushback, or even criticism. Some people may not understand why you are saying no more often, but with each step, you grow stronger. Over time, people adjust, and those who truly respect you will stay. The discomfort of setting boundaries is temporary, but the benefits last a lifetime. Protecting your time and emotional space is one of the greatest investments you can make in your growth, because it ensures that your energy is spent where it brings the most value. Boundaries give you freedom. Freedom from constant demands, freedom from unnecessary drama, and freedom from wasted energy. They allow you to live with intention, to focus on growth, and to pursue your goals without being pulled away by distractions. Life feels lighter when you are no longer carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations. This freedom is not selfish. It is necessary to live a life of clarity, purpose, and strength. When you decide to design boundaries, you take a stand for yourself. You take ownership of your time, your energy, and your emotional health. You build a shield that allows you to grow stronger without interference, and you give yourself the space to create, to rest, and to live in alignment with your deepest goals. Boundaries are not just lines you draw, they are commitments to yourself that say, "My life has value, and I will protect it." Chapter 4. Practice gratitude to shift attention inward and increase resilience. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces you can develop because it transforms the way you experience your life, no matter what circumstances you face. When you learn to focus on what is present instead of what is missing, you create a shift in your perspective that gives you strength and stability even in difficult times. Most people spend their days chasing what they do not yet have, comparing themselves to others, or dwelling on what went wrong. This habit quietly robs them of joy and weakens their ability to stay resilient when challenges arise. Gratitude interrupts that cycle. It draws your attention back to what is already working, what you have overcome, and what you can build on. It reminds you that even in struggle, there are lessons, supports, and opportunities available to you. The practice of gratitude is not about ignoring pain or pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing to see the full picture rather than only the parts that cause stress or dissatisfaction. You may not control every situation you face, but you do control where your focus rests. If you constantly dwell on problems, your energy becomes heavy and your outlook closes in. If you deliberately notice progress, kindness, or even the smallest signs of hope, you create a mindset that can handle adversity with strength. This shift does not happen by accident. It requires discipline to train your mind to see what is good when it is easier to complain or criticize. But over time, this discipline builds resilience that no obstacle can easily shake. Gratitude is also a tool for reducing comparison. When you constantly measure your life against someone else's, you overlook the blessings already in your hand. You might see another person's wealth, recognition, or status, and feel inadequate, forgetting that you have health, relationships, or experiences they may not. Gratitude grounds you in your own journey. It helps you recognize that your life has unique value and that fulfillment comes not from collecting everything, but from appreciating what is already yours. By focusing inward, you become less reactive to what others achieve and more invested in building your own path with clarity and peace. Building gratitude into daily life requires practical actions. One simple step is to take a few minutes each morning or evening to name specific things you are thankful for. This can be as ordinary as having food on the table, the ability to move your body, or a conversation that made you smile. The point is not the size of the blessing, but the awareness it creates. Writing these moments down in a journal can strengthen the practice, as it provides a record you can revisit during harder times. Another method is to pause throughout the day when you catch yourself complaining or comparing and immediately shift to naming something positive in that moment. It could be as small as the comfort of sunlight through a window or as meaningful as the support of someone you trust. These micro practices retrain your brain to search for the good, even when stress is present. Gratitude also has a direct impact on emotional resilience. When life presents setbacks, a grateful mindset helps you recover faster. Instead of viewing failure as the end, you begin to see it as a chance to learn. Instead of seeing obstacles only as roadblocks, you recognize the strength you gain by pushing through them. For example, if a plan does not work out, gratitude allows you to focus on the skills you developed in the process rather than only on the outcome you missed. If you lose an opportunity, gratitude shifts your attention to the relationships or lessons that came with the experience. This perspective does not erase pain, but it gives you the emotional balance to keep moving forward instead of sinking into hopelessness. Gratitude also deepens relationships. When you regularly express appreciation to the people around you, you build trust and connection. Too often, we take those closest to us for granted, focusing more on what they do wrong than on what they do right. Shifting this pattern by acknowledging their support, kindness, or effort strengthens bonds and creates a positive environment for everyone involved. This does not require grand gestures. Even a few sincere words of thanks can shift the energy of an interaction. Over time, you build an atmosphere of respect and encouragement, which naturally supports your emotional well-being and resilience. Another benefit of gratitude is that it brings peace in moments of uncertainty. The future will always carry unknowns, and fear often grows from imagining everything that could go wrong. Gratitude interrupts this cycle by drawing you back to what is currently steady and reliable. Instead of getting lost in worry about tomorrow, you anchor yourself in what is already secure today. This grounding effect reduces anxiety and helps you make clearer decisions. You approach challenges with a calmer mind. Because you are not blinded by everything that is uncertain, you are supported by everything that is already strong. It is important to understand that gratitude is not a one-time choice, but a continuous practice. Like building muscle, it requires repetition and effort. At first, it may feel unnatural to pause and notice blessings when stress dominates your thoughts. But the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Over weeks and months, you may find that gratitude becomes your default reaction instead of frustration or comparison. You start to see opportunities where before you only saw problems. You feel lighter because your attention is no longer consumed by what is missing. You gain strength because your focus has shifted to what is available to you right now. To strengthen this habit, you can integrate gratitude into your routines. Begin your day by naming 3 things you are thankful for before you reach for your phone or think about tasks. End your day by reflecting on moments of growth, kindness, or peace, no matter how small. Share gratitude openly with others, not only in words but in actions, through listening, supporting, and being present. Use setbacks as opportunities to practice gratitude by asking, "What can I learn here? What am I gaining, even in this challenge?" Over time, these practices reshape your perspective until gratitude becomes part of your identity. Gratitude also has a ripple effect on your goals. When you live with appreciation, you pursue your ambitions with a sense of fulfillment rather than desperation. You no longer chase success as a way to prove your worth, because you already recognize value in what you have. This balance allows you to set goals with clarity and patience. You work hard not from a place of emptiness, but from a place of strength. As a result, your progress feels more sustainable, and you are less likely to burn out. Gratitude provides the emotional fuel to keep going without being consumed by the need for constant validation. Ultimately, gratitude is about reclaiming control of your attention. The world constantly pushes you to compare, complain, and crave more, but you always have the choice to redirect your focus toward what is already present and meaningful. That choice shapes your emotional state, your resilience, and the way you experience your life. The more you practice, the more you realize that peace and strength were never outside of you. They were always within, waiting for you to notice. Gratitude unlocks that awareness, and with it you gain the clarity to live each day with purpose and resilience. Chapter 5. Eliminate distractions that steal focus from meaningful work. Success demands your full attention, and the greatest challenge in today's world is not a lack of opportunity, but the endless stream of distractions that pull you away from what truly matters. Every time your focus is stolen by something unimportant, you give away a piece of your potential. Distractions may seem harmless in small moments, but together they create a life that is fragmented, reactive, and unfulfilled. If you want to create meaningful results, you must learn the discipline of eliminating what does not serve your goals and protecting the mental space needed for deep, focused work. Modern life is filled with interruptions. Notifications on your phone, constant news updates, background noise, and the pressure to always be available create an environment where attention is scattered. The problem is that every interruption carries a cost. Each time you switch your focus, your brain requires time to recover before you can fully re-engage in meaningful work. This loss may not seem large in the moment, but across hours, days, and years, it becomes enormous. Imagine what you could build if your energy was not drained by constant redirection, but fully invested in deliberate effort. That is the promise of focus. Progress that compounds because it is not wasted on distractions. Eliminating distractions begins with awareness. Many people move through their day without realizing how often they allow interruptions to dictate their schedule. The first step is to notice what pulls your attention most frequently. It could be your phone, conversations that drain energy, clutter in your environment, or even habits of procrastination. By naming these distractions, you bring them into the light and give yourself the power to change them. Self-mastery always begins with recognition of what is currently controlling you. Once you identify distractions, you must make firm decisions about what to remove or reduce. This requires honesty. Ask yourself whether each activity or input moves you closer to your goals or simply fills time. If it is not adding value, it is stealing it. Many people hold on to habits out of comfort or fear of missing out, yet the cost of holding on to distractions is far greater than the discomfort of letting them go. Every time you say yes to distraction, you say no to growth. Every moment of wasted attention is a moment you cannot recover. Choosing focus means valuing your future more than temporary pleasure. Practical steps make this choice easier. One of the most effective actions is to create physical and digital environments that support focus. Put your phone out of reach during important work. Disable non-essential notifications. Keep your workspace clean and organized so that visual clutter does not pull your attention. Designate times for deep work when you allow no interruptions, and guard those hours as you would an important appointment. Train the people around you to respect those boundaries by clearly communicating when you are unavailable. These small adjustments add up to a powerful foundation for focus. Mental discipline is just as important as environmental design. Many distractions are not external but internal. Thoughts of worry, temptation to multitask, or habits of avoidance can sabotage your focus even in a quiet room. To overcome this, you must strengthen your ability to remain present. Start by giving full attention to a single task without allowing yourself to shift prematurely. Build endurance by extending the time you spend in focused work. When your mind drifts, calmly bring it back without frustration. Over time, this practice trains your brain to stay engaged for longer periods. This mental resilience becomes a competitive advantage in a world where most people cannot concentrate for more than a few minutes. Eliminating distractions is not about creating a life of constant work, but about reclaiming the energy wasted on meaningless interruptions. When you reduce what pulls you away, you free time for what enriches you: deep learning, meaningful relationships, health, and purposeful progress. Focus is not only for productivity but also for living with clarity. Without it, life becomes a blur of unfinished tasks and shallow engagement. With it, you experience depth, presence, and fulfillment in everything you choose to do. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen focus is to align your daily actions with a clear vision. When you know exactly what matters, it becomes easier to filter out what does not. Write down your most important goals and use them as a compass. Before engaging in any activity, ask whether it supports your vision or distracts from it. This simple question can prevent countless hours of wasted effort. You will find that much of what once demanded your attention loses its grip when measured against the clarity of your purpose. Another strategy is to structure your time intentionally. Break your day into blocks, where each block is dedicated to a specific type of work or rest. By assigning time for deep concentration, communication, and recovery, you reduce the chances of aimless wandering. Use tools such as timers to maintain focus during work periods, and reward yourself with short breaks to recharge. This balance allows you to sustain effort without falling into burnout or distraction. Discipline in how you design your day gives you freedom to progress with consistency. It is also valuable to examine the role of technology in your life. While technology can be a powerful tool, it is also one of the greatest sources of distraction. Social media, endless scrolling, and constant connectivity drain mental energy without providing real progress. Set strict limits on how and when you use technology. Decide when to engage and when to disconnect entirely. Replace wasted screen time with practices that strengthen your mind and body: reading, exercising, or reflecting. The more intentional you are with technology, the more it serves you rather than controls you. Overcoming distractions requires courage, because you will often feel pressure from others who live in constant interruption. People may expect instant responses or criticize you for stepping away from the noise, but remember that their urgency is not your responsibility. Protecting your focus may create resistance at first, yet over time, those around you will respect the clarity you demonstrate. More importantly, you will respect yourself for refusing to let your life be dictated by demands that do not align with your purpose. The rewards of eliminating distractions are profound. You will find that your work reaches higher quality because your mind is fully engaged. You will progress faster because your efforts are concentrated. You will feel calmer because you are not pulled in 1,000 directions. Perhaps most importantly, you will experience the quiet confidence of knowing you are in control of your attention rather than a victim of endless interruptions. This confidence fuels further discipline and creates a cycle of growth that accelerates with time. Distractions will never fully disappear, but your power lies in how you respond to them. Each day presents a choice: surrender to interruptions or discipline your focus. By consistently choosing the latter, you reclaim your time, energy, and direction. The world will always attempt to scatter your attention, but you are not obligated to follow. With clarity of vision, disciplined habits, and strong boundaries, you can build a life where your focus serves your highest goals. That is how meaningful work is accomplished, and how lasting fulfillment is created. Many people struggle with self-trust because they break promises to themselves. They set goals but quit when it feels uncomfortable. They say they will change but continue old habits. They promise themselves they will speak up but remain silent. Each of these moments may seem small, but together they send a message to the mind that you cannot be relied on. Reversing this cycle begins by treating your commitments to yourself with the same respect you would give to commitments made to someone you deeply admire. When you decide to do something, follow through, even if it feels inconvenient. Start with actions that are small but meaningful, because keeping them builds evidence that you can be trusted. The foundation of every strong and resilient life is self-trust, because without it, every decision becomes clouded with doubt and every opportunity feels uncertain. When you trust yourself, you no longer wait for permission or approval from others to take action. You move forward with clarity, knowing that even if mistakes come, you will handle them and grow. Self-trust is not something built in a single moment of inspiration. It is the result of small, courageous choices made consistently over time. Each decision to honor your word, follow through on a promise, or act despite fear reinforces your confidence in your own strength. Chapter 6. Strengthen self-trust through small, consistent, courageous choices. Practical action is essential in this process. Choose one small habit that represents courage for you and commit to it daily. For example, if fear holds you back from speaking up, commit to sharing your opinion at least once a day. If you struggle with discipline, commit to finishing one important task each morning before anything else. If self-doubt keeps you from trying, commit to taking one step toward a goal regardless of how ready you feel. These actions may seem small in isolation, but over weeks and months they compound into a deep reservoir of confidence. You begin to know yourself as someone who chooses action over avoidance. Consistency is what transforms courage into character. Acting bravely once does not create lasting self-trust, but repeating it every day makes it part of your identity. The mind learns through patterns, and when you consistently take steps aligned with your values, it begins to expect that you will continue. This expectation becomes a deep inner security. You no longer wonder if you will rise to challenges because your history proves that you will. To build this consistency, you must set clear standards for yourself and refuse to lower them when it becomes uncomfortable. The discomfort is temporary, but the trust you build lasts a lifetime. Courage is the fuel of self-trust. Courage is not about the absence of fear, but the willingness to act while fear is present. Each time you step into discomfort, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than your doubts suggest. It could be as simple as starting a conversation you have been avoiding, trying a skill you fear you might fail at, or making a decision without waiting endlessly for reassurance. These small acts may not appear dramatic to others, but to you they become milestones. They are the bricks that construct an unshakable belief that you will not abandon yourself when challenges arise. Resilience also plays a key role in this process. No matter how disciplined you become, there will be moments when you fail or fall short. What matters is not perfection, but your response after setbacks. When you treat mistakes as opportunities to recommit rather than evidence of weakness, you protect your self-trust. You learn to see failure as part of growth rather than a reason to quit. This perspective allows you to return stronger each time and proves to yourself that your commitment is not fragile. You are not someone who gives up at the first sign of difficulty, but someone who adapts and continues. Another important element in strengthening self-trust is honesty with yourself. Many people erode trust by pretending their excuses are reasons or by hiding from their weaknesses. Self-trust grows when you acknowledge the truth, even when it is uncomfortable. If you procrastinated, admit it instead of blaming circumstances. If you avoided a challenge, recognize it without denial. This honesty prevents self-deception and builds integrity. Integrity means alignment between what you say and what you do. Every time your actions reflect your words, you reinforce the message that you are dependable. Self-trust also deepens when you align your choices with your values. If you act in ways that contradict your beliefs, inner conflict arises and trust weakens. But when your actions reflect what matters most to you, your mind experiences harmony. Each decision becomes another statement of your character. For example, if honesty is a value, speak the truth even when it costs you. If health is a value, choose food and movement that support your body even when easier options tempt you. By living according to your values, you give yourself proof that you can be relied on to remain steady. Courageous choices also include protecting your boundaries. When you say no to something that compromises your well-being, you affirm to yourself that your needs matter. Too often, people sacrifice their priorities to please others and then wonder why they feel resentful or powerless. By consistently honoring your boundaries, you strengthen the belief that you will not abandon yourself. This creates a sense of safety that no external approval can provide. The process of strengthening self-trust will challenge you, but it will also transform you. It demands that you act when it is easier to hesitate, that you persist when quitting feels tempting, and that you honor your own word as sacred. With each choice, you add another layer to the foundation of your character. Over time, this foundation becomes unshakable. You no longer question whether you can face life with strength, because your history has already proven it. The trust you build in yourself becomes the steady force that carries you through every season of life. The long-term reward of building self-trust is freedom. When you know you can rely on yourself, you no longer live trapped by fear of failure or dependence on others for validation. You take risks because you know you can handle the outcome. You pursue goals without waiting for the perfect conditions because you trust your ability to adapt. You feel calm in uncertainty because you are anchored in your own resilience. This freedom is not given by chance, but earned through daily choices that demonstrate courage and consistency. Sleep is often overlooked, yet it is the #1 tool for recovery, energy, and mental clarity. When you go to bed at inconsistent times or treat rest as an afterthought, your body pays the price. Poor sleep weakens memory, slows decision-making, and lowers your ability to handle stress. On the other hand, when you decide that sleep is part of your plan for success, everything changes. Imagine creating a fixed bedtime, dimming the lights an hour earlier, putting away screens, and allowing your mind and body to fully recharge. Suddenly, mornings feel lighter, concentration sharpens, and motivation rises. Many people chase productivity hacks when the real secret is this: 8 hours of quality sleep will do more for your focus and energy than any caffeine or shortcut ever could. It is not laziness to rest, it is discipline. Chapter 7. Prioritize health by scheduling sleep, movement, and nourishing meals. Your future depends on the choices you make today, and one of the most powerful choices you can ever make is to prioritize your health before anything else. Without a healthy body and mind, every other area of your life becomes harder. Progress slows down, and your potential never fully shines. Success, happiness, and fulfillment rest on a foundation of consistent care for yourself, and that starts with how you sleep, how you move, and how you nourish your body every single day. Think about it. If you are constantly tired, drained, or struggling with preventable health issues, how can you fully focus on your goals or even enjoy the rewards of your efforts? This is why building health into your daily schedule is not just a good idea, it is a non-negotiable requirement if you want to live a strong, focused, and productive life. Then comes nourishment. Food is fuel, but too often it is treated as an afterthought or a quick fix to silence hunger. Every bite you take either supports your health or steals from it. Meals loaded with processed sugar and unhealthy fats create short bursts of energy followed by crashes, leaving you unfocused and irritable. But when you intentionally plan meals with whole foods, lean proteins, healthy fats, fruits and vegetables, your energy stabilizes and your mind stays clear. Planning your meals in advance prevents last-minute unhealthy choices, and eating at consistent times allows your body to maintain steady rhythms. The simple act of preparing your meals instead of relying on fast food or random snacks becomes a practice of self-respect. Each meal is not just about eating, it is about choosing a future of vitality rather than a future of exhaustion. Movement is another essential part of this foundation. The human body was never designed to sit for 10 hours a day, yet modern life often pushes us into chairs, screens, and cars. Over time, this stillness drains vitality, stiffens the body, and even creates emotional weight. Choosing to move daily is not about extreme workouts or punishing routines. It is about giving your body what it was built for. A morning walk, stretching throughout the day, or a simple body weight routine is enough to shift your energy. Each movement tells your body, I am alive, I am strong, and I am investing in myself. The more consistent you become, the easier it feels. Movement doesn't just change your body, it lifts your emotions and clears your mind. It sharpens your focus for meaningful work and helps you face challenges with strength instead of fatigue. The power comes when you combine these three pillars, sleep, movement, and nourishment, into a schedule that supports you daily. This is where discipline matters most. Anyone can eat healthy once in a while, exercise occasionally, or get a good night's sleep here and there, but real transformation comes when you create a structure that ensures these habits happen no matter what. That means scheduling your sleep as if it were a meeting with your future. It means putting exercise into your calendar before other less important commitments fill your day. It means grocery shopping and preparing meals ahead of time so you always have nourishing food available. This isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. One skipped day doesn't undo your progress, but neglecting your health for weeks or months creates a gap that becomes harder and harder to repair. You must also protect these habits from excuses. There will always be reasons to stay up late, skip a workout, or order unhealthy food. But each time you give in, you send yourself a message that your health is not a priority. The truth is, every commitment you honor strengthens your self-discipline, and every excuse you accept weakens it. You cannot separate your goals from your health, because the two are directly linked. If you want to work with focus, lead with energy, and live with confidence, you must refuse to compromise the routines that sustain your body. Success is not just about working hard, it is about working smart, and nothing is smarter than protecting your health first. To stay consistent, use simple strategies. Set alarms not just for waking up, but also for going to bed. Keep a water bottle nearby so hydration becomes automatic. Prepare quick, healthy snacks so you're not tempted by junk when hunger strikes. Lay out your workout clothes the night before so exercise feels like a natural part of your day instead of a decision you have to debate each morning. Track your habits on paper or an app so you can see progress in front of you. Each small system makes it easier to follow through because success comes less from willpower and more from structure. Another powerful shift comes when you recognize that health is not selfish. It is generous. By taking care of yourself, you gain more energy to give to your work, your relationships, and your purpose. When you are healthy, you are more patient, more present, and more capable of lifting others up. But when you neglect your well-being, even your best intentions get buried under fatigue, irritability, and illness. So remember that making sleep, exercise, and nutrition a priority is not about taking time away from others. It is about ensuring you can give them the best version of yourself. And as you stay disciplined, you will notice results that go far beyond physical health. Better sleep leads to sharper focus, regular movement strengthens mental resilience, and nourishing meals improve mood stability. These benefits spill over into every goal you pursue. You'll find that projects are easier to complete, stress is easier to handle, and opportunities are easier to embrace. You won't just feel healthier, you will feel unstoppable because your body and mind are working with you instead of against you. Chapter 8. Measure progress weekly with honest reflection and simple metrics. So today, make the decision that health is not optional. It is the base of everything you want to achieve. Protect your sleep as fiercely as your dreams. Move your body daily to remind yourself of your strength. Feed yourself with meals that build energy instead of stealing it. And most importantly, schedule these habits so they never get lost in the busyness of life. Because once you commit to treating health as a priority, you unlock a level of energy, clarity, and resilience that makes every goal not just possible, but inevitable. Think about how often people get stuck because they believe they are working hard, but never evaluate their results. They may feel productive, yet months pass and nothing meaningful changes. Reflection prevents that trap. By dedicating one specific time each week to review your actions, you shine a light on what worked, what failed, and what needs to change. This process is not about judgment or guilt, but about awareness. When you look at your week with honesty, you see patterns that would otherwise remain hidden. You begin to recognize which habits push you closer to your goals and which ones silently hold you back. Progress is not measured by how busy you were, but by how much closer you are to the life you want. And this is why weekly reflection is one of the most powerful tools for growth. Many people set goals and dive into action, but they rarely stop to look back and ask themselves if their steps are truly moving them forward. Without reflection, effort becomes guesswork. Without measuring, you cannot improve. The truth is, success does not come from rushing endlessly, but from regularly pausing, checking direction, and adjusting with clarity. When you learn to measure your progress weekly with honesty and simple metrics, you gain control over your journey instead of drifting without awareness. The key to making this practice effective is simplicity. Many people overwhelm themselves by creating complicated systems of tracking and endless charts that eventually discourage them. What you need is not complexity, but clarity. Choose a few simple metrics that reflect the outcomes you want. If your goal is better health, track your sleep hours, daily movement, and food quality. If your focus is financial progress, track savings, spending, and income generated. If you are working on personal growth, measure habits like reading, journaling, or meditation. The point is to measure the behaviors that build your future, not just the results that come later. By keeping it simple, you remove excuses and make the practice sustainable. But metrics alone are not enough. You must pair them with honest reflection. Numbers show you what happened, but reflection tells you why it happened. When you look back at the week, ask yourself powerful questions. Did I use my time intentionally? Did I allow distractions to steal energy? Did I stay consistent with the habits I promised myself? Was my attitude aligned with the outcomes I want? Honest reflection cuts through excuses and exposes the truth. And the truth, even when uncomfortable, is what allows you to grow. The reason weekly reflection works so well is that it gives you short feedback loops. If you wait months to evaluate your actions, small problems snowball into bigger ones. But when you review every week, you can catch mistakes early and correct them before they become damaging. You can also recognize progress that might feel invisible day to day. Many times people quit because they do not see results fast enough, but reflection shows them how far they've actually come. Even small wins, when acknowledged, build motivation to keep moving forward. To make the process powerful, you must treat it like a non-negotiable meeting with yourself. Set aside a fixed day and time, perhaps Sunday evening or Monday morning, and make it a ritual. Remove distractions, sit down with a notebook or digital tracker, and give yourself full attention. Review your metrics, write down observations, and make clear decisions for the coming week. This is not something you do casually when you have time. This is the foundation of accountability to yourself. Without this ritual, you risk repeating the same mistakes endlessly. Consistency in weekly reflection also trains you to think long-term. Each week is a small piece of the bigger picture, and when you stack those reflections over months, you build a timeline of growth. You begin to see patterns across seasons of life. You understand how your moods, environments, and routines affect performance. You can connect the dots between choices made weeks ago and results showing up today. This long-term awareness sharpens wisdom and helps you make smarter decisions going forward. Another benefit of weekly reflection is emotional clarity. Often we carry stress or guilt without knowing why. By reviewing the week, we release what no longer serves us and reset our mindset. Writing down what drained you emotionally and what gave you energy allows you to adjust your environment. Maybe certain people, places, or activities repeatedly steal your motivation. Maybe certain routines always leave you energized. Reflection makes these patterns visible so you can protect your energy better each week. Another critical aspect is learning to celebrate progress, not just criticize failures. Many people use reflection as a tool for self-criticism, which only creates discouragement. True reflection balances awareness of weaknesses with recognition of strengths. If you improved in one area, acknowledge it. If you stayed consistent with a small habit, appreciate the discipline it required. Growth feels more rewarding when you allow yourself to see what you are doing right. This positive reinforcement fuels momentum. At the same time, weaknesses should not be ignored, but reframed as opportunities to improve. Ask, what can I do differently next week to fix this? Instead of, why am I so bad at this? That simple shift changes reflection from punishment into empowerment. The process also trains discipline. It is easy to run from self-honesty, to keep moving and avoid facing uncomfortable truths. But the act of sitting down each week and confronting your choices builds inner strength. It teaches you to look reality in the eye without fear. This courage carries over into other areas of life, because if you can face your own actions honestly, you can face challenges from the outside world with confidence. To make reflection even more effective, combine it with accountability. Share your weekly insights with a trusted friend, mentor, or even a journal you review later. Speaking your progress aloud or writing it down creates stronger commitment. It also helps you see growth more clearly because you can compare your current reflections to past entries. Over time, you realize just how much you have evolved, and that realization inspires deeper trust in yourself. You may ask, how long should reflection take? The answer is not hours of overthinking. In 30 to 60 minutes, you can review your metrics, answer a few key questions, and create a plan for the week ahead. The goal is not perfection, but progress. Even a brief but consistent review has more impact than occasional deep analysis. What matters is the habit of showing up for yourself every single week. Imagine how different your life would look if you measured and reflected consistently for an entire year. 52 weeks of awareness, 52 opportunities to adjust, 52 chances to celebrate growth and correct mistakes. Instead of drifting aimlessly, you would move with precision. Instead of relying on vague feelings, you would have concrete evidence of your progress. Instead of repeating old patterns, you would design new ones with intention. This is the power of weekly reflection. It multiplies growth by shortening the distance between action and adjustment. Chapter 9. Embrace failure as feedback to refine your next steps. So do not let another week pass in blindness. Commit today to setting aside time for honest evaluation. Keep your metrics simple, your questions honest, and your focus on improvement. Treat this ritual as sacred, because it is through reflection that your actions turn into wisdom and your goals turn into reality. Remember, success is not built in a single leap. It is built week by week through consistent action and honest self-review. The person who reflects consistently will always outgrow the person who only reacts blindly. Your future is waiting for you to measure, reflect, and adjust. The only question is, will you start this week? Greatness is never born from perfection. It is born from the willingness to stumble, to fall, and to rise with stronger determination each time. Failure is not the end of your path. It is the teacher that reveals where you need to adjust and how you can refine your next steps. Every person who has reached something meaningful has carried with them a long list of mistakes, setbacks, and painful lessons. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is not that one side avoided failure, but that they learned to interpret it differently. If you view failure as shame, you will hide from growth. If you see it as feedback, you will use it as fuel. Think about how many opportunities are lost because people fear being wrong. They stay stuck, paralyzed by the idea that failing means they are not good enough. But failure does not define your worth. It defines your process. It shows you what did not work so you can design a better approach. The first attempt is rarely the perfect one. Athletes, inventors, artists, and leaders all refine through trial and error. Each mistake is data. Each setback is guidance. Each fall is a chance to rise wiser than before. When you embrace failure as feedback, you release yourself from the unrealistic expectation of getting everything right the first time. You understand that progress is a cycle of trying, learning, adjusting, and trying again. This mindset builds resilience, because setbacks no longer feel like crushing defeats, but like stepping stones. You are less likely to quit because you no longer see failure as a dead end. Instead, you view it as a redirection. It tells you this path needs adjustment and gives you the chance to try a new angle. The practical way to apply this is to always ask after a failure, what did this teach me? Did I prepare enough? Was my strategy effective? Did I overlook something? Did my emotions cloud my decisions? By turning mistakes into questions, you shift from self-blame to self-awareness. Instead of saying, I failed, so I am not capable, you say, I failed, so now I know what to improve. That shift in language and perspective is powerful. It prevents you from internalizing failure as identity and keeps it where it belongs, as a temporary outcome. To make failure work for you, you must detach from the opinions of others. Many people fear failure not because of the mistake itself, but because of what others will think. They imagine judgment, criticism, or embarrassment, and that fear paralyzes them. But the truth is, most people are too focused on their own lives to dwell on your setbacks. And even if they do notice, their opinion does not change the value of your journey. You cannot live to avoid judgment. You must live to pursue growth, even if growth means being misunderstood along the way. Another important truth is that failure builds humility. Success can make people arrogant, but setbacks remind us that we are always students of life. This humility is not weakness, it is strength, because it keeps you open to growth. When you think you know it all, you stop learning. But when failure humbles you, it opens your mind to better strategies and wiser choices. In this way, failure becomes a gift. It strips away illusions and grounds you in reality. Another way to embrace failure is to expect it as part of the process. When you set a goal, do not imagine a smooth path. Imagine obstacles, missteps, and surprises. Prepare your mind to meet them with patience. This does not mean you expect to quit. It means you expect to learn. By normalizing failure, you reduce the sting when it comes. You remind yourself, this is part of the journey, instead of, this means I should stop. By expecting setbacks, you build the mindset of persistence that keeps you moving forward regardless of temporary results. Failure also develops emotional strength. When you face disappointment and rise again, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than you thought. Many people never discover their resilience because they never allow themselves to fail. But those who take risks and recover from setbacks build unshakable confidence. You begin to trust yourself, not because you never fall, but because you know you can stand back up. That trust is more valuable than any short-term success, because it gives you courage for every challenge ahead. Consider how innovation works. Breakthroughs rarely come from the first attempt. Scientists experiment thousands of times before discovering something new. Entrepreneurs launch ideas that fail before they find one that succeeds. Writers, musicians, and creators produce countless drafts, most of which never see the light of day. But each failed attempt sharpens the vision and leads closer to excellence. If they had quit after the first failure, the world would have missed out on some of its greatest progress. The same applies to your life. If you quit after one setback, you rob yourself of the chance to refine, adapt, and eventually succeed. Practical application requires you to record your failures, not hide them. Keep a journal of attempts, outcomes, and lessons. Writing them down prevents you from forgetting what you learned. Over time, you will see a record of resilience and wisdom that grows with every challenge. Instead of viewing your journal as a list of disappointments, view it as a library of strategies. Every entry is proof that you are learning, evolving, and building strength. It is also important to separate failure from self-worth. Many people confuse the two, believing that failing at something means they are failures as human beings. This belief is destructive. Failure is about behavior, not identity. You are not defined by a single attempt or even many attempts. You are defined by how you respond. You maintain dignity, strength, and courage, even when results are not in your favor. By holding on to this truth, you can embrace failure without losing confidence. Another perspective that helps is gratitude for failure. It may sound unusual, but every setback protects you from illusions and prepares you for what is real. Sometimes failure blocks you from paths that would have harmed you. Sometimes it exposes weaknesses you needed to fix before bigger opportunities arrived. When you start to see failure as protection as much as correction, you carry less bitterness and more appreciation. You recognize that even the hardest experiences can serve your growth. To live this way requires discipline. Discipline to keep going when it hurts. Discipline to extract lessons when emotions want to complain. Discipline to stay focused when your ego wants to quit. This discipline becomes the foundation of resilience. It allows you to transform every fall into an education and every disappointment into direction. Over time, your relationship with failure changes completely. Instead of fearing it, you respect it. Instead of avoiding it, you use it. Embracing failure as feedback is not just about surviving mistakes. It is about using them to sharpen your vision, refine your steps, and strengthen your spirit. The only way to fail permanently is to refuse to learn. As long as you keep extracting lessons and moving forward, every setback becomes part of your success. So do not hide from failure. Do not let the fear of being wrong stop you from trying. Instead, take the fall, gather the feedback, and use it to rise with greater wisdom. In the end, the people who succeed are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who never let failure stop them. Every mistake is pointing you toward a better way, if you are willing to listen. If you look at your past, you will notice how many of your strengths were built from moments of failure. The times you thought you could not continue but still did. The mistakes that forced you to change direction. The rejections that taught you persistence. Those experiences shaped your character far more than easy victories. By remembering this, you can walk into future failures with less fear, knowing that you have always grown stronger from them. When you face a failure, it is easy to let frustration or shame take over. Your mind tells you that you are not enough, or that the goal was never meant for you. But if you pause and reframe the experience, you see that the failure itself is a form of guidance. It is a signal pointing out what needs to be adjusted. It is feedback delivered in the most honest way. Success rarely teaches you as much as failure does. Success feels good, but it does not always reveal where you are weak. Failure, on the other hand, shines a light directly on the areas that require your growth. Think of how children learn to walk. They do not succeed on the first attempt. They stumble, fall, and get back up over and over. Each fall teaches them balance, strength, and coordination. If they quit after the first tumble, they would never learn to walk. As adults, the same principle applies, yet we often forget and expect ourselves to achieve without error. That expectation is unrealistic and destructive. By removing it, by welcoming failure as a natural step in learning, you free yourself from fear and unlock the persistence needed for real progress. True strength is built when you stop fearing mistakes and start using them as the foundation for your next move. Failure does not mean you are incapable. It means you are being shown where you can improve, and if you embrace it as feedback, you transform setbacks into progress. The reality is that no one succeeds without falling along the way. The stories you admire, the achievements that inspire you, the lives that seem to shine with resilience, all of them carry hidden chapters of trial, rejection, and disappointment. The difference is that those people did not see failure as an ending. They saw it as information. Practical growth requires you to ask the right questions after every setback. Instead of saying, "Why me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of saying, "I failed again," ask, "What specifically went wrong, and how can I refine it?" This shift keeps your mind active and searching for solutions instead of drowning in negativity. Reflection after failure is more valuable than any victory because it creates a roadmap for improvement. Without this reflection, you risk repeating the same mistakes endlessly. Embracing failure also builds resilience. Life will never be free from challenges. Disappointments will come, whether you want them or not. But when you treat each failure as training, you become mentally stronger. You no longer collapse under pressure because you have proven to yourself that you can endure difficulty and rise again. This inner strength becomes a shield that carries you through larger battles. It is not built in comfort. It is forged in the fire of trial. One of the greatest obstacles to embracing failure is the fear of judgment. Many people worry more about what others will say than about what they will learn. This fear of embarrassment prevents them from taking bold action. But remember, people are far more focused on their own struggles than they are on yours, and even if they notice your failures, their opinions cannot define your growth. Living to avoid judgment is a prison. Living to pursue progress, even at the risk of mistakes, is freedom. Failure also teaches patience. Success often takes longer than expected. Every failed attempt stretches your tolerance and builds your ability to wait with discipline. This patience is not passive, it is active endurance. It is the decision to stay in the process, to keep refining, and to trust that each attempt, no matter how flawed, is moving you closer to your vision. To use failure effectively, document it. Write down what happened, what you felt, what you learned, and what you will change next time. A failure journal may sound heavy, but over time it becomes a record of growth. Looking back, you will see that the mistakes that once discouraged you actually built the strongest parts of your character. You will see proof that every setback carried a lesson that shaped the person you are becoming. Another practical approach is to set smaller experiments instead of massive, high-pressure goals. When you treat each step as a test, failure becomes lighter. You know in advance that not every attempt will succeed, but each one will give you valuable information. This mindset makes you more willing to take risks and try new methods, because you no longer see failure as a threat, but as part of the design. Gratitude for failure may sound difficult, but it is one of the most powerful shifts you can make. Be grateful for the lessons, for the clarity, for the resilience gained. Every time you fail, you gain something invisible but powerful. Wisdom. Wisdom that no textbook, no lecture, no comfort could have given you. Gratitude turns bitterness into growth. It keeps your spirit light enough to continue moving forward, even when progress feels slow. The discipline of embracing failure means choosing courage daily. Courage to take action, knowing the outcome may not be perfect. Courage to stand up again after being knocked down. Courage to refine instead of quitting. This discipline shapes your character into someone unstoppable. Because once you stop fearing failure, there is nothing left to hold you back. It is important to separate failure from identity. You are not a failure because something did not work out. You are a person who is learning. The event is temporary. Your worth is permanent. If you confuse the two, you will trap yourself in doubt. But if you keep them separate, you can face failure without damaging your self-belief. You will see yourself as capable of improvement instead of broken. Chapter 10. Release people-pleasing and practice saying no with respect. Look at your past. Recall the times you thought you could not recover from a setback, but eventually did. Notice how much stronger you became afterward. Notice how many valuable lessons were hidden inside those moments of defeat. If you can learn from the past, you can trust that every failure ahead will also carry something useful. This trust keeps you calm in the storm and steady on your path. Failure is not the enemy, it is the instructor that life gives you when comfort is no longer enough. To embrace it is to embrace growth itself. Each time you fail, you are being invited to refine your strategy, adjust your mindset, and strengthen your resolve. Do not waste that invitation by hiding in shame. Accept it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. The only true failure is refusing to rise again. Everything else is feedback guiding you to your next step. Saying yes to everything is not kindness. It is neglect of yourself. Every time you agree to something that conflicts with your values or your energy, you silently tell yourself that your needs do not matter. That pattern repeats until you no longer recognize what you truly want. But life was never meant to be lived as a performance for others. You are here to live authentically, and that means setting limits that protect your energy and dignity. Respecting yourself begins with the courage to say no when you must. Real freedom begins when you stop living for the approval of others and start honoring your own voice. For too long, many people carry the weight of constant people-pleasing, saying yes when they want to say no, agreeing to things that drain them, and stretching themselves thin just to avoid disappointing someone else. It feels easier in the moment to comply, but over time, it steals your peace, erodes your confidence, and leaves you resentful. The truth is, you cannot fully grow into your potential if your life is constantly dictated by the expectations of everyone around you. Many avoid saying no because they confuse it with rejection or cruelty. But declining does not mean you are unkind. It simply means you are honest. A respectful no is not a dismissal of someone's worth. It is an affirmation of your boundaries. When delivered with clarity and calmness, it creates healthier relationships because it removes hidden resentment. Agreeing to something you resent is far more damaging than openly saying no. It is important to understand that people-pleasing is rooted in fear. Fear of conflict, fear of losing love, fear of judgment. But when you live in fear, you sacrifice authenticity. The irony is that the more you suppress your true feelings to please others, the more distant and false your connections become. Genuine relationships cannot be built on constant compromise. They thrive on honesty, mutual respect, and the ability to express both yes and no without guilt. The practice of saying no begins with small steps. You might start by declining something minor, like an invitation you do not have the energy for. As you build confidence, you begin to notice that the world does not collapse when you assert yourself. People may be surprised at first, but those who truly value you will adjust. Those who only respected you when you bent to their wishes were never giving you real respect to begin with. When you say no with respect, focus on clarity instead of over-explaining. A simple, direct statement is often enough. Long justifications weaken your stance and invite unnecessary debate. For example, instead of saying, "I can't because I have so many other things going on, and maybe another time and I feel so bad about it," you can simply say, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now." Clear, respectful, and final. That is all it takes. Practicing no also means letting go of guilt. Guilt is the anchor that keeps people trapped in endless yeses. But guilt is often misplaced. Saying no does not make you selfish. It makes you balanced. You are allowed to prioritize rest, growth, and personal goals. You are allowed to protect your time. You are allowed to preserve your energy. The more you practice, the more you realize that every no to something misaligned is a yes to something important. Your peace, your values, and your authentic life. Boundaries are not walls, they are guidelines that protect the flow of respect. Without them, others may unintentionally take advantage of you, not because they are malicious, but because you never showed them where the line was. By stating your boundaries clearly, you teach others how to treat you, and you teach yourself that your needs matter. This act alone reshapes the way you move through the world. You begin to live with integrity instead of compliance. One powerful effect of learning to say no is that it strengthens your self-trust. When you consistently betray yourself by agreeing to things you do not want, you weaken your confidence. But when you honor your instincts, you prove to yourself that your feelings are valid. Each no builds self-respect, and self-respect builds resilience. Soon you stop asking for permission to live your truth, and start living it without apology. Remember that not everyone will like your no. Some will push back, some may even withdraw, but that reaction is not your responsibility. You are not responsible for managing every emotion around your choices. You are responsible for living in alignment with your values. Those who respect you will adjust to your boundaries. Those who cannot were never aligned with your true self in the first place. Think about the energy you reclaim when you stop overcommitting. That energy can be poured into your health, your passions, your growth, and the relationships that actually uplift you. People-pleasing robs you of time you will never get back. By releasing it, you give yourself permission to thrive. You also set an example for others, showing them that it is possible to be kind without being a doormat, supportive without being drained, and respectful without being controlled. Over time, the more you practice, the lighter you feel. You no longer carry the heavy burden of constant obligation. You wake up with more space in your schedule, more clarity in your decisions, and more peace in your heart. You realize that your worth was never tied to how much you did for others. Your worth has always been intrinsic, and the moment you stopped trying to earn it through people-pleasing, you began to live freely. Learning to say no with respect is not just about rejecting requests. It is about reclaiming your voice. It is about choosing honesty over pretense, strength over fear, and authenticity over approval. It is about living your life instead of constantly performing for someone else's comfort. This practice, though uncomfortable at first, becomes liberating with time. So let this be your reminder. You do not owe endless yeses to the world. Your time, your energy, and your heart are valuable. Protect them. Speak your truth with kindness, but with firmness. Respect yourself enough to say no when necessary, and you will discover a deeper peace than people-pleasing could ever give you. True respect is not earned by sacrificing yourself. It is built by living authentically and standing confidently in your boundaries. Chapter 11. Train your attention by limiting social media and notifications. Your attention is the most valuable resource you have, and if you don't train it, the world will take it from you without asking. Every scroll, every ping, every red notification bubble is designed to pull your focus away from what truly matters and scatter your energy into pieces. You may think you're in control when you check your phone for just a minute, but that 1 minute often turns into 30, and what's worse, the constant interruptions weaken your ability to concentrate even when you're away from the screen. If you want sharper focus, deeper clarity, and stronger discipline, you must reclaim your attention by limiting social media and reducing the endless stream of notifications. Think about how often you are pulled away from meaningful work by a vibration in your pocket or a banner sliding across your screen. Each time you shift your attention, your brain requires energy to refocus. Multiply that by dozens or even hundreds of distractions in a day, and it becomes clear why you feel drained without accomplishing what you intended. The truth is, your mind was never designed to juggle so many interruptions. If you want to train your attention, you must create an environment that allows it to grow stronger instead of being scattered. The first step is awareness. Many people underestimate how much time they spend on social platforms or reacting to alerts. They believe it's only a little here and there, yet when tracked, the hours add up shockingly fast. That time is not just lost, it is stolen from your goals, your health, your relationships, and your peace. By bringing awareness to how often you engage, you gain the power to make different choices. Even small reductions can bring back hours each week that you didn't realize were slipping away. Once you see the cost clearly, the next step is to set limits. Social media is not inherently bad. It can connect, inspire, and educate, but without boundaries it consumes more than it gives. Decide when and how you will use it, instead of letting it decide for you. Maybe that means checking once in the morning and once in the evening, instead of every time you feel a moment of boredom. Maybe it means uninstalling apps from your phone and using them only on your computer. The method matters less than the principle. You are choosing to control your usage instead of letting it control you. Notifications deserve even more scrutiny. Most alerts are not emergencies, yet phones and apps are designed to make everything feel urgent, conditioning you to respond instantly. The result is a constant state of distraction and stress. To train your attention, turn off every notification that is not essential. Keep only the ones that truly require immediate awareness, like a direct message from family or a critical work alert. Silence the rest. Imagine how much calmer your mind would be if it no longer had to brace for the next ping. The absence of constant interruptions creates space for deeper thought and longer focus, which are essential for achieving meaningful progress. Training your attention is like training a muscle. The less it is interrupted, the more endurance it develops. When you allow yourself to work on something without glancing at your phone for 30 minutes, then an hour, then longer, you are strengthening the very skill that determines whether you can follow through on your goals. You become less reactive, more intentional, and far more capable of tackling complex challenges without getting overwhelmed. It's also important to create moments in your day that are completely free of screens. Step outside without your phone. Eat a meal without scrolling. Have conversations without glancing at notifications. These small acts retrain your brain to be fully present. Presence sharpens your awareness and reduces the constant restlessness that comes from digital overstimulation. You begin to notice details you once overlooked. Your thoughts become clearer, your emotions steadier, your relationships deeper. You may feel some discomfort when you first limit social media and notifications. That is normal, because these platforms are engineered to trigger dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. When you stop checking, you feel restless, like you're missing something. But this is the withdrawal of distraction, and if you sit with it, the urge fades. Soon, you discover the deeper satisfaction of being in control of your attention instead of chasing every digital spark. That shift is powerful. It restores your sense of agency over your own mind. Another way to reinforce your attention is to replace passive scrolling with intentional activities. Read a book. Journal your thoughts. Engage in a hobby. Exercise. Have real conversations. Every time you choose something intentional over mindless digital consumption, you strengthen the habit of directing your focus where it serves you. Over time, you develop a preference for what nourishes your mind instead of what numbs it. Protecting your attention is also about creating environments that support focus. If your phone is within reach, the temptation to check it is strong, even if it doesn't buzz. Place it in another room when you need deep work. Use apps or settings that block social media during certain hours. Structure your surroundings to reduce friction, so staying focused becomes the easier choice. This small change can dramatically improve the quality of your concentration. As your attention strengthens, you'll notice a ripple effect in every part of your life. Work that once felt overwhelming becomes manageable because you can give it your full energy without constant distraction. Conversations become more meaningful because you are truly listening instead of half engaged. Your creativity expands because your mind has the quiet space to generate ideas. Even your stress decreases because your brain is no longer on high alert from constant interruptions. The real reward of training your attention is freedom. Freedom from the grip of algorithms designed to keep you hooked. Freedom from the anxiety of endless alerts. Freedom from the feeling that your time is slipping away unnoticed. You step into a life where you decide what deserves your energy, instead of surrendering it to the demands of a glowing screen. Your focus is your power. When you learn to protect it, you stop scattering your energy and start directing it toward the life you want to create. Social media and notifications will always be there, but they no longer have to control you. The more you practice, the stronger your discipline becomes. And with that discipline comes clarity, productivity, and peace that distraction can never give you. So take back your attention. Limit the noise. Turn off what isn't necessary. Train your mind to go deep instead of wide. Guard your focus as the treasure it is, because everything you want to build depends on it. Once you reclaim your attention, you reclaim your life. Chapter 12. Cultivate curiosity by learning something new every single day. The fastest way to keep your mind sharp and your spirit alive is to make learning a daily habit that never ends. Growth happens when you open yourself to new knowledge and experiences, and curiosity is the spark that keeps you moving forward. Too many people stop learning once they finish school or settle into a routine. But the truth is that life itself is the greatest classroom, and every day offers something to discover if you are willing to look for it. By choosing to learn something new every single day, you strengthen your mind, expand your opportunities, and build a sense of excitement about life that routine alone can never provide. Curiosity is not just about consuming information. It is about actively seeking out insights that push you forward. When you pick up a new skill, explore an unfamiliar topic, or try an activity outside your comfort zone, you are reminding yourself that growth is always possible. Even small lessons accumulate over time. One day of learning might teach you how to solve a problem more efficiently. Another day might introduce you to an idea that shifts your perspective, and yet another might give you the confidence to try something you once avoided. Each piece adds up, creating momentum that makes you stronger and more capable. The process begins with intention. Curiosity does not thrive in a passive mind that waits for life to provide answers. It grows in a mind that actively asks questions and seeks solutions. Start your day by asking yourself, what is one thing I can learn today that will improve me? This question shifts your focus from routine survival to deliberate expansion. The answer does not need to be grand or complicated. Even learning a new word, understanding a different culture, or mastering a small skill adds value. The point is not the size of the lesson, but the consistency of the habit. Practical methods make this habit easy to maintain. Reading for a few minutes each day exposes you to new perspectives and ideas that expand your worldview. Listening to podcasts or audiobooks while walking or commuting allows you to absorb knowledge effortlessly. Watching educational content instead of endless entertainment provides insights that spark reflection. Engaging in conversations with people who have different backgrounds or expertise challenges your thinking and introduces you to worlds you might never explore on your own. Every method counts as long as you stay intentional about your learning. Curiosity also thrives when you take action on what you learn. Knowledge without application quickly fades, but when you put new lessons into practice, they transform into wisdom. If you learn a productivity method, test it during your workday. If you study a new language, practice speaking even if you make mistakes. If you read about a health strategy, apply it in your daily routine. Acting on what you discover deepens your understanding and makes the learning stick, turning curiosity into lasting change. Another important aspect of cultivating curiosity is embracing subjects outside your usual interests. It is easy to stick to what feels comfortable, but curiosity expands most when you step into unfamiliar territory. If you are drawn to science, try learning about art. If you prefer history, spend time with technology. If you enjoy physical activities, explore philosophy. These diversions open doors you never knew existed, giving you insights that cross-pollinate and make you more creative in every area of life. The best innovations often come from combining knowledge from different fields, and curiosity makes this possible. Consistency is the key to making curiosity a natural part of your life. Just as exercise builds physical strength, Daily learning builds mental resilience. Over time, your brain adapts to seek novelty and challenge instead of staying stuck in comfort. You begin to crave new information, fresh experiences, and deeper understanding. That hunger keeps you young at heart, no matter your age. Because curiosity fuels the energy that routine can drain. It becomes a cycle of growth. The more you learn, the more you want to learn, and the more capable you become of handling life's challenges with confidence. Curiosity also strengthens resilience. When life presents difficulties, a curious mind looks for lessons instead of dwelling on the problem. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you ask, "What can I learn from this?" That simple shift turns setbacks into teachers and failures into guides. Curiosity removes fear from uncertainty because instead of dreading the unknown, you explore it with interest. The more you practice curiosity, the more you turn obstacles into opportunities for growth. Building this habit does not require massive time investments. 5 to 15 minutes of intentional learning each day is enough to make a profound difference. The key is to stay consistent and keep challenging yourself in small steps. Imagine what happens after a year of learning one new thing daily. That's 365 lessons, skills, or insights added to your life. Multiply that over 5 or 10 years, and the growth becomes extraordinary. That kind of steady expansion transforms who you are and what you are capable of achieving. You will also notice how curiosity enhances your relationships. When you approach others with genuine interest, asking thoughtful questions and listening deeply, people feel valued. You learn from their experiences, and they feel encouraged to share openly. This builds stronger connections while also expanding your understanding of human nature. Curiosity breaks down walls between people because it is rooted in humility, the willingness to admit you do not know everything, and the openness to learn from anyone. To keep your curiosity alive, protect it from the traps of routine and distraction. It is easy to get caught in cycles of mindless scrolling or repetitive tasks that dull your desire to explore. Break those cycles by intentionally introducing novelty into your day. Take a different route, read a different author, try a new hobby, or ask a question you have never asked before. These small disruptions reignite the spark of curiosity and keep your mind alert. The reward of cultivating curiosity is not just knowledge, it is vitality. You feel more alive when you are discovering, experimenting, and growing. Life becomes less about enduring the days and more about engaging with them fully. You find excitement, not only in big milestones, but in small daily discoveries. Each day holds potential, and curiosity ensures you never miss it. So commit to learning something new every single day. Treat your mind like fertile ground that thrives when fed with fresh ideas. Seek lessons in books, people, experiences, and challenges. Apply what you learn, expand into unfamiliar areas, and protect the spark that keeps you growing. Curiosity is the fuel for a meaningful life, and when you nurture it daily, you build a future filled with wisdom, opportunity, and joy. The greatest strength you can build for your future is the habit of learning something new every single day, because growth only happens when curiosity leads you beyond what you already know. Each day presents countless chances to expand your knowledge, sharpen your skills, and challenge your perspective, but most people overlook them because they settle into routines that keep them repeating the same thoughts and actions. When you choose to cultivate curiosity, you transform ordinary days into opportunities for progress, and you discover that consistent learning fuels energy, confidence, and resilience in ways that no comfort zone ever could. Learning daily does not require hours of study or complicated systems. It begins with a mindset that refuses to remain stagnant. You can learn from a book, a conversation, a documentary, a short article, a skill you practice, or even a mistake you make. What matters most is not the size of the lesson, but the willingness to engage with life as a student. This approach keeps your mind active, sharp, and adaptable, which are qualities needed in a world that never stops changing. Curiosity thrives when you intentionally ask questions. Instead of letting a fact pass by, pause and dig deeper. Instead of accepting things as they are, explore how they came to be and why they matter. Each question opens a door to greater understanding, and over time your brain becomes wired to seek answers rather than settle for ignorance. This practice makes you more resourceful and better equipped to handle challenges, because you naturally search for solutions instead of being paralyzed by problems. Practicality is what makes this habit stick. You don't need to wait for free time or ideal conditions to learn. Read a few pages during breakfast, listen to an educational podcast while walking, watch a lecture during a break, or practice a new technique at work. Replace passive entertainment with intentional learning at least once a day, and the progress will compound. By the end of a year, those small daily steps will add up to hundreds of new insights that broaden your abilities and deepen your wisdom. Curiosity should not be limited to your existing interests. Real growth comes from stepping into areas that challenge you. If you normally enjoy technology, learn about art. If you love literature, study science. If you are skilled in business, spend time on philosophy or psychology. Cross-disciplinary learning sparks creativity because it allows your brain to connect ideas from different fields, producing solutions and insights you would never find by staying in one lane. Application is what turns curiosity into transformation. It is not enough to collect facts. You must use them. If you learn about nutrition, improve your meals. If you study communication, practice it in conversations. If you gain insight into leadership, apply it in your team. Each time you implement what you learn, you move from theory to mastery, and the knowledge becomes a permanent part of who you are. Curiosity also builds resilience. When life gives you setbacks, a curious mindset asks, "What can I learn from this?" instead of "Why did this happen to me?" This shift prevents discouragement and allows failure to serve as feedback rather than defeat. A curious person treats difficulties as opportunities to gain insight and grow stronger, which makes resilience natural and lasting. Your relationships benefit too when you nurture curiosity. Showing genuine interest in others by asking thoughtful questions and listening closely not only teaches you new things, but also deepens trust and connection. People respond positively to those who are truly curious about their lives, and this habit enriches both sides, creating stronger bonds built on respect and learning. Curiosity keeps you youthful no matter your age. A mind that continues to explore remains flexible, sharp, and excited about life. Stagnation leads to boredom and decline, but curiosity keeps you moving forward with energy and purpose. Even small lessons keep your spirit alive because they remind you that every day has something to offer. Protect this habit by limiting distractions that dull your desire to learn. Mindless scrolling, repetitive routines, and passive consumption can numb curiosity, so break those cycles by introducing novelty. Try new hobbies, ask new questions, and expose yourself to different environments. The more variety you introduce, the more your curiosity flourishes. The rewards of daily learning extend far beyond knowledge. You gain confidence because each lesson adds to your sense of capability. You gain creativity because exposure to diverse ideas sparks innovation. You gain fulfillment because engaging with new insights makes life exciting and purposeful. And you gain long-term strength because consistent curiosity prepares you for opportunities you cannot yet see. Make it a rule to learn at least one new thing every day. Write it down, reflect on it, and put it into practice. Over weeks and months, you will see yourself becoming sharper, wiser, and more resilient. Over years, you will look back and realize that the simple habit of daily curiosity reshaped your life completely. Growth is not built in bursts, but in steady steps, and curiosity is the fuel that keeps those steps moving forward without end. When you wake up tomorrow, ask yourself what you will learn, and let that question guide your actions. With time, this habit becomes second nature, and you will no longer go through days passively. You will approach life with intention, excitement, and a hunger for progress. That is how you create a life of continuous growth, fueled by the power of curiosity, one day at a time. Chapter 13. Protect your identity by choosing values over outside approval. Your life becomes unshakable the moment you choose your values over seeking the approval of others. Too many people spend years bending, compromising, and performing to satisfy outside expectations, believing that validation from others defines their worth. This habit erodes your sense of self and leaves you constantly chasing a fleeting sense of acceptance that never lasts. When you protect your identity by committing to your own values first, you stop living for applause and start living with integrity, clarity, and power. Identity is fragile when it is based on external approval. Every compliment, every criticism, every social comparison carries the potential to shift your self-perception if you allow it. People-pleasing becomes the default because it provides temporary validation, a quick fix to the discomfort of uncertainty. But the cost is high. You lose touch with your true desires, your instincts, and your principles. Real strength and confidence cannot exist in someone who measures themselves by how others react. They only exist when you define yourself on your own terms. To protect your identity, the first step is clarity. You must know what you stand for and what matters most to you. Values are the compass that guide decisions, actions, and priorities. They tell you what is worth your time, energy, and loyalty. When you operate from a clear set of values, the noise of external opinions loses its power. Decisions become easier because you are guided by principles, not by fear of judgment or the desire to fit in. Next, practice discernment in whose opinions you allow to influence you. Not every voice deserves a seat at the table of your mind. Friends, family, colleagues, or even strangers may offer feedback, but it is your responsibility to weigh it against your own values. If advice aligns with your principles, it can be useful. If it conflicts, you must have the courage to let it go. The ability to filter external influence without resentment is a mark of strong identity. Building this habit also requires developing self-respect. When you honor your own values consistently, you train yourself to trust your judgment. You become less reactive to criticism and less dependent on approval. Self-respect grows each time you choose what feels right for you over what others expect. The more you act in alignment with your values, the more resilient your sense of self becomes, making you immune to the manipulation or opinions of those who seek to sway you. Protecting your identity means learning to say no gracefully but firmly. When an opportunity, request, or relationship conflicts with your principles, declining is not rejection. It is a declaration of self-respect. Saying no may upset others initially, but living authentically is far more important than temporary discomfort. Every time you enforce this boundary, you reinforce your sense of identity and demonstrate to yourself that your values are non-negotiable. It is essential to understand that seeking approval is an endless trap. People's standards, expectations, and judgments constantly change, and no amount of compliance can satisfy them all. Chasing approval leads to exhaustion, inconsistency, and emotional fragility. Choosing values over approval releases you from this cycle. You no longer bend to fit everyone's vision because you are committed to your own. The sense of liberation is profound, and the energy you gain can be redirected toward meaningful growth and purpose. Your identity also strengthens when you live authentically, despite criticism. Not everyone will support your decisions or admire your courage. Some may resist because they are uncomfortable with your independence. That resistance is a reflection of their own insecurities, not your worth. When you stay true to your values in the face of opposition, you cultivate an inner strength that cannot be shaken. Over time, this consistency attracts respect and trust from people who value integrity, not superficial compliance. Daily practices reinforce your commitment to values over approval. Start each morning by reaffirming your principles and asking yourself how you will act in alignment today. Reflect on moments when you felt pressured to compromise and identify how you could respond differently. Journal your choices to recognize patterns where external influence has previously overpowered your judgment. Awareness and reflection solidify the connection between your actions and your core identity. Protecting your identity also means choosing relationships wisely. Surround yourself with people who respect your principles and support your authenticity. Avoid those who demand conformity or drain your energy with constant judgment. The company you keep influences your mindset, and being around value-driven individuals reinforces your commitment to your own principles. Community built on respect and shared integrity fuels confidence and reduces the temptation to seek approval from the wrong sources. Another critical aspect is self-validation. Learn to celebrate your achievements, decisions, and growth based on your standards rather than external praise. Recognize progress in alignment with your values and allow yourself to feel pride in your own judgment. Self-validation strengthens the muscle of autonomy, making it easier to withstand criticism and ignore unnecessary approval seeking. Remember that protecting your identity is not arrogance or isolation. It is clarity, courage, and discipline. It is choosing depth over popularity, principle over convenience, and integrity over external applause. Every decision made in alignment with your values reinforces who you are and who you are becoming. The more consistently you practice this, the less influence others have over your confidence, emotions, and direction. As your identity strengthens, you gain freedom to pursue goals that truly matter. You no longer hesitate because of imagined judgments. You take action based on purpose rather than pressure. Your decisions feel lighter, your energy grows, and your sense of direction becomes sharper. People begin to notice your authenticity and naturally respect it. Life feels more intentional, meaningful, and under your control. Ultimately, choosing values over outside approval is about reclaiming ownership of your life. Approval is fleeting, conditional, and external. Values are enduring, intrinsic, and internal. When you live by your values, you protect your identity, maintain integrity, and create a life that aligns with your true self. The moment you prioritize what matters to you over what others expect, you step into freedom, confidence, and unshakable strength. Chapter 14. Align daily actions with long-term vision and purpose. Every action you take today either moves you closer to your vision or pulls you further away, and understanding this is the foundation of a purposeful life. Living without alignment between daily actions and long-term goals leads to wasted energy, scattered focus, and a constant sense of frustration. To create meaningful progress, it is essential to evaluate every choice through the lens of your ultimate purpose. When your actions consistently reflect your long-term vision, each day becomes a building block. Each effort compounds, and the life you imagine begins to materialize in tangible ways. Alignment begins with clarity. You must define your long-term vision in specific and actionable terms. General ideas like "I want to be successful" or "I want to be happy" are insufficient. Clarify what success means to you, what happiness looks like, and what milestones mark progress along your path. Write it down, visualize it, and hold a clear image in your mind. A precise vision functions like a compass, guiding your decisions and helping you evaluate whether a task contributes to your ultimate purpose. Without this clarity, even the busiest days can leave you feeling stagnant and unfulfilled. Once your vision is clear, the next step is intentional planning. Each day presents countless choices, and without a framework, it is easy to drift into distraction or prioritize what seems urgent rather than what is important. Identify actions that directly support your long-term objectives. This could include learning new skills, building relationships, practicing discipline, or completing specific tasks that move you forward. Approach each day with a deliberate strategy, ensuring your efforts reinforce the direction you want to go. Consistency is the bridge between vision and achievement. Taking aligned actions sporadically produces minimal results. It is the repeated, focused effort that compounds over time into meaningful progress. Habits are critical in this process. Identify small routines that reflect your goals and commit to them daily. Each repetition strengthens your skills, reinforces discipline, and moves you closer to your vision. Even modest progress, when consistent, creates exponential results over months and years. Prioritization is a necessary skill for alignment. Life constantly presents distractions, urgencies, and demands that may conflict with your objectives. Learning to discern what truly matters ensures that your energy is directed toward high-impact activities. Review tasks through the question, "Does this action serve my long-term purpose?" If the answer is no, reconsider its place in your day. This practice reduces wasted effort and increases the efficiency and effectiveness of your daily routine. Reflection strengthens alignment by keeping you honest with yourself. At the end of each day, evaluate your actions and ask whether they brought you closer to your vision. Identify areas where you drifted and determine how to correct course. Reflection not only helps you adjust your strategy, but also reinforces accountability. The act of consciously reviewing your decisions strengthens your ability to make better choices in the future. Focus is essential to prevent scattered energy from undermining your alignment. Multitasking and overcommitment dilute your impact. When you concentrate on one high-value task at a time that supports your long-term goals, your work gains clarity, precision, and momentum. Train your mind to resist distractions and give your full attention to actions that matter most. Deep focus multiplies results and accelerates the achievement of your vision. Motivation comes from connection to purpose. When you link your daily actions to a compelling why, tasks that might feel tedious or challenging take on new meaning. Knowing that each small step is part of a larger design fuels perseverance and discipline. Purpose transforms routine actions into powerful statements of intention, turning ordinary effort into extraordinary progress over time. Flexibility is equally important. Alignment does not mean rigidly following a plan without adjustment. Life is unpredictable and circumstances will change. The key is to remain anchored in your vision while adapting your methods. When new opportunities or challenges arise, evaluate them against your long-term purpose before deciding. Flexibility allows you to navigate obstacles without losing sight of your ultimate direction. Accountability strengthens commitment. Share your goals with trusted individuals or track them openly for yourself. External accountability encourages follow-through and creates pressure to act consistently. It is a support system that reminds you of your vision when internal motivation wanes. Accountability reinforces habits, sharpens focus, and accelerates progress by keeping your actions aligned. Time management is a practical tool for alignment. Break long-term objectives into manageable steps and schedule time daily to work on them. Avoid spending the majority of your day on tasks that are urgent but not important. When you control your schedule deliberately, you ensure that each day includes meaningful progress toward your vision. This discipline eliminates wasted time and enhances productivity while reinforcing the habit of alignment. Energy management complements time management. Even the most well-planned day fails if your energy is depleted or scattered. Prioritize sleep, nutrition, movement, and mental rest to maintain peak performance. Aligned actions require sustained energy, focus, and clarity. Protecting your energy ensures that each decision you make is intentional and effective, and that your efforts consistently support long-term objectives. Visualization strengthens alignment by keeping your vision alive in your mind. Each day, imagine yourself achieving your long-term goals. Picture the results of your effort, the satisfaction of progress, and the life you are building. This mental rehearsal reinforces motivation, clarifies priorities, and guides your actions. When your vision feels real and attainable, your daily efforts carry more meaning and direction. Decision-making is the test of alignment. Every choice presents an opportunity to reinforce or derail your vision. Pause before acting and evaluate whether the decision supports your long-term goals. Avoid decisions driven by impulse, habit, or outside pressure. Each aligned decision builds confidence, momentum, and integrity, creating a consistent trajectory toward your purpose. Patience is vital because long-term goals cannot be achieved overnight. Small daily actions compound slowly but steadily into remarkable results. Avoid the trap of seeking immediate gratification or measuring success by short-term outcomes. Trust the process, remain disciplined, and honor each step as progress toward your vision. Patience ensures persistence, prevents frustration, and allows the natural accumulation of effort to yield transformative results. Celebrating small wins reinforces alignment by recognizing that each deliberate action matters. Acknowledging progress, no matter how minor it may seem, fuels motivation, strengthens habits, and maintains commitment to your vision. Celebrating milestones keeps your mind engaged, your focus sharp, and your dedication unwavering over the long journey. Review and adjust regularly. As you progress, some actions may become less relevant, and new priorities may emerge. Continuous evaluation ensures that your daily efforts remain in harmony with your long-term vision. Flexibility combined with consistency allows you to navigate life's changes while staying true to your purpose. Aligning daily actions with your long-term vision is a continuous process of clarity, intention, focus, and discipline. Each day offers an opportunity to take purposeful steps toward the life you desire. The decisions you make, the habits you form, and the energy you invest determine whether your vision remains a dream or becomes a reality. By committing to alignment, you transform ordinary days into a powerful sequence of progress that steadily shapes your future. Every choice counts. Every habit matters. Every action builds the foundation for the life you intend to live. When you align your daily behavior with your long-term vision and purpose, you no longer drift through life aimlessly. You live with direction, power, and meaning. The more deliberate you are in connecting today's actions with tomorrow's goals, the faster and more confidently you achieve the extraordinary life that is within your grasp. Chapter 15. Commit to micro habits that compound into major change. True transformation begins with tiny actions taken consistently every single day. because monumental change does not occur overnight. Major achievements are rarely the result of sudden bursts of effort. They are the natural outcome of repeated small steps that accumulate over time. Micro-habits are the building blocks of extraordinary lives, because they allow progress to occur without overwhelming your energy, focus, or willpower. Each small habit, no matter how seemingly insignificant, contributes to the momentum that propels you forward and reshapes your reality. The power of micro-habits lies in their simplicity and consistency. A habit as small as writing one sentence, walking for 5 minutes, drinking an extra glass of water, or reflecting on a single thought might appear trivial in isolation. Yet, when practiced daily, these actions compound into remarkable results. They teach discipline, build self-trust, and create a pattern of success that can be scaled over time. Success is not magic, it is the natural product of repeated focused effort. To harness this power, start by identifying areas of your life where small changes can produce significant results. It could be your health, learning, productivity, relationships, or mindset. Break larger goals into micro-habits that feel manageable and realistic. Instead of committing to running 5 miles immediately, start with a single lap or a 10-minute walk each day. Instead of reading a full book in a week, commit to a single page or 5 minutes of reading daily. The key is action, not perfection. Consistency is more valuable than intensity. It is better to take small, steady steps every day than to pursue grand efforts sporadically. Micro-habits reduce resistance because they are achievable, removing the mental barriers that often prevent people from starting. Each completed habit builds confidence, creating a positive feedback loop that motivates further action. As consistency grows, the habits expand naturally, and the results become increasingly significant. Tracking your progress enhances the compounding effect. Even tiny habits produce measurable outcomes when recorded. Use a simple chart, journal, or app to mark completion of each habit daily. Seeing a visual representation of your consistency reinforces accountability and motivates you to maintain momentum. Small wins, when acknowledged regularly, strengthen your belief in your ability to achieve larger goals. Micro-habits also reduce reliance on willpower alone. Big goals often fail because they demand extraordinary effort that cannot be sustained indefinitely. Tiny habits, in contrast, require minimal effort to execute, making them easier to integrate into daily life. Over time, repeated micro-actions shift from conscious effort to automatic behavior, creating a foundation of discipline that supports bigger, more ambitious actions. The compounding effect of micro-habits is exponential. One small improvement today may seem unnoticeable, but repeated over weeks, months, and years, it multiplies into profound transformation. Reading 5 minutes daily adds up to dozens of books each year. Walking 10 minutes daily accumulates into hundreds of miles annually. Simple habits grow silently yet relentlessly, shaping your skills, mindset, and results without requiring dramatic effort or sacrifice. Micro-habits also build resilience. They teach you the value of persistence and the principle of incremental growth. When challenges arise, these habits act as anchors, providing structure and continuity. They prevent stagnation and maintain forward motion even during difficult times. The smallest habit performed consistently proves that progress is always possible, reinforcing belief in your capacity to overcome obstacles and achieve meaningful change. Choosing habits wisely ensures that your energy and focus produce the greatest results. Not all actions compound positively, so prioritize habits aligned with your long-term goals and values. Eliminate habits that waste time or drain energy without producing meaningful outcomes. Each micro-habit should serve a purpose and contribute to personal growth, whether it improves knowledge, health, productivity, or emotional resilience. Layering habits amplifies their impact. Once a micro-habit becomes routine, introduce another that complements it. For example, if you establish a habit of walking daily, add a habit of mindful breathing or listening to educational content during the walk. Layering habits allows multiple areas of your life to grow simultaneously without overwhelming your schedule. Over time, these layers create a network of compounding actions that drive significant transformation. Reflection and adjustment are crucial to maximize the effect of micro-habits. Review progress regularly and assess whether your habits are producing desired outcomes. If a habit no longer serves your growth, replace it with one that better aligns with your current goals. This iterative process ensures continuous improvement and prevents stagnation while keeping your actions purposeful and effective. Micro-habits also strengthen identity. Small, consistent actions reinforce the type of person you aspire to be. Performing a single act daily, such as journaling, exercising, or practicing gratitude, gradually rewires your self-perception. You begin to see yourself as someone who takes care of their mind, body, and purpose, which in turn motivates you to continue building habits that reinforce that identity. Accountability accelerates results. Share your micro-habit goals with someone you trust, or create a public commitment. Even minor social pressure increases adherence and strengthens the habit loop. Regularly reviewing your micro-habits with others adds clarity and reinforces motivation, ensuring that small actions translate into real, long-term outcomes. It is essential to celebrate micro-achievements. Recognizing progress, no matter how small, reinforces your motivation and highlights the value of consistency. Each completion confirms that you are capable of growth and that every effort matters. Celebrating small wins provides the emotional reinforcement necessary to maintain momentum and cultivate a positive cycle of continuous improvement. Patience is a key component of micro-habits. Transformation is rarely immediate, and the compounding effect works silently until it reaches a critical point where visible results emerge. Trust the process, remain committed to daily actions, and understand that long-term success is built on a foundation of consistent small efforts rather than sudden dramatic changes. The beauty of micro-habits is their accessibility. Anyone can start today, regardless of experience, age, or circumstance. The barrier to entry is minimal, yet the potential payoff is immense. This simplicity makes micro-habits one of the most effective tools for personal growth. Because small steps are achievable, sustainable, and transformative over time. By committing to micro-habits daily, you create a life that reflects intentional action, discipline, and purpose. Each tiny effort accumulates into substantial results, shaping your skills, mindset, and identity. You no longer rely on motivation alone, but build systems that ensure growth regardless of circumstances. The quiet power of small, consistent actions transforms ordinary days into a life of extraordinary impact. Ultimately, committing to micro-habits is about reclaiming control over your future. Every small choice becomes an investment in the person you are becoming. The compounding effect guarantees that even modest efforts, when executed consistently, produce monumental change over time. By embracing micro-habits, you turn intention into action, consistency into mastery, and patience into lasting transformation, creating a life that steadily evolves into your highest potential. Chapter 16. Replace anxious thoughts with concrete plans and small acts. Anxious thoughts only gain power when they are allowed to dominate your mind without action, and the way to break free is to replace worry with concrete plans and deliberate small steps. Anxiety thrives on uncertainty, imagining worst-case scenarios and magnifying challenges into overwhelming problems. The more you dwell on these fears without taking action, the stronger and more paralyzing they become. By shifting focus from fear to structured action, you reclaim control over your mind, your emotions, and ultimately, your life. The first step is to acknowledge anxious thoughts without judgment. Recognize that worry is a signal, not a command. Anxiety often points to areas where preparation, attention, or decision-making is needed. By observing your anxious thoughts objectively, you prevent them from spiraling out of control and create the mental space necessary to transform them into actionable strategies. Next, identify specific aspects of the situation that you can influence. Anxiety is often fueled by focusing on what you cannot control. Break the problem into components, separating what is within your reach from what is not. This distinction immediately reduces overwhelm and provides clarity about where action is meaningful. Focusing energy on controllable elements empowers you to make progress instead of remaining stuck in fear. Once controllable factors are identified, translate them into concrete plans. A plan converts abstract worry into tangible steps. Write down what you need to do, prioritize tasks, and assign timelines. Even small incremental actions matter. By taking the first step, no matter how minor, you replace helplessness with momentum. Action interrupts the cycle of anxiety and provides evidence that challenges can be faced and managed. Breaking larger tasks into small acts amplifies this effect. Anxiety often grows because problems are perceived as insurmountable. When you focus on the next immediate step, the situation becomes manageable. Completing small tasks produces a sense of accomplishment, builds confidence, and gradually reduces overall stress. Momentum grows from these small wins, proving that progress is possible even when the end goal feels distant. Consistency is essential. Taking action once may not fully dissolve anxiety, but repeated small acts create a habit of constructive response. Each day, confront anxious thoughts with deliberate steps that move you toward solutions. The repetition trains your mind to respond with planning and action, rather than fear and avoidance. Over time, this rewires your natural response to stress, making resilience your default mode. Visualization complements planning. Imagine yourself taking these small steps successfully and handling potential obstacles calmly. Visualizing action creates a mental rehearsal that strengthens confidence and reduces the paralyzing impact of fear. This practice primes your brain to act decisively when challenges arise, reinforcing the habit of responding to anxiety with planning rather than panic. Practical tools also support this process. Journaling helps externalize anxious thoughts, transforming them from a swirling cloud in your mind into defined problems on paper. Listing solutions, potential actions, and contingency plans turns worry into strategy. Reviewing these notes regularly reminds you of progress and keeps your focus grounded in reality rather than imagination. Another effective method is prioritization. Not every worry requires immediate action, and not every step needs to be perfect. Decide which tasks are most impactful and tackle those first. Focus on high-leverage actions that reduce uncertainty and prevent anxiety from escalating. Small, deliberate acts aimed at critical areas of concern create disproportionate relief and restore clarity. Discipline plays a crucial role. Anxiety can tempt you to procrastinate, avoid, or seek distraction. Committing to small, consistent acts against fear strengthens your discipline and trains your mind to respond constructively under pressure. This disciplined approach gradually reduces the intensity of anxious thoughts and enhances your ability to act with calm focus, even in challenging circumstances. It is also important to accept uncertainty as part of life. Anxiety often stems from resisting the unknown, yet total control is impossible. By combining acceptance with action, you acknowledge what cannot be changed while focusing energy on what can. This balance between acceptance and proactive behavior creates emotional stability and prevents anxiety from dominating your decision-making. Accountability reinforces progress. Share your plans and small actions with a trusted friend, mentor, or coach. External accountability motivates follow-through and provides perspective when worry tempts you to retreat. Discussing actionable steps with someone else creates a feedback loop that strengthens confidence and helps maintain focus on solutions rather than problems. Mindful awareness enhances this strategy further. Notice the onset of anxious thoughts and consciously shift attention to specific, practical actions. Mindfulness prevents automatic escalation of worry and keeps you grounded in the present moment. Focusing on tangible steps rather than imagined scenarios interrupts the mental patterns that feed anxiety and replaces them with constructive energy. Tracking results is a key reinforcement. Document each small act taken against anxiety and note the outcomes. Recognize patterns where action reduces worry and where avoidance increases it. This awareness reinforces the power of deliberate steps, provides encouragement, and strengthens the habit of turning fear into planning. Replacing anxious thoughts with concrete plans requires courage. Fear naturally resists action because it prefers avoidance. Each step taken despite discomfort builds self-trust and resilience. You prove to yourself that challenges can be faced, uncertainty can be managed, and anxiety can be transformed into forward momentum. Courage, even in small increments, compounds into emotional strength and confidence. Celebrate progress along the way. Recognize the effect of small actions in reducing worry and moving toward solutions. Each achievement, no matter how minor, reinforces the habit of responding constructively to fear. These celebrations maintain motivation, strengthen the mental association between action and relief, and encourage continued practice. This approach reshapes your relationship with anxiety. Instead of a paralyzing force, anxious thoughts become signals for preparation, reflection, and intentional action. Your mind learns that worry does not have to control behavior and that challenges are manageable when approached systematically. The power of planning and small acts transforms stress into opportunity and fear into competence. Ultimately, the consistent practice of replacing anxious thoughts with concrete plans and small acts creates lasting mental resilience. It allows you to navigate life with focus, confidence, and calm determination. Each thought managed, each step taken reinforces your ability to act effectively under pressure and build a life of progress and stability. Anxiety loses its power when met with action, and through deliberate steps, you reclaim control over your mind, your time, and your future. Chapter 17. Set clear goals and break them into manageable steps. Success starts with clarity, and clarity begins with setting goals that define exactly what you want to achieve. Without clear goals, effort becomes scattered, energy is wasted, and progress is slow or non-existent. Goals provide direction, purpose, and motivation because they act as a roadmap for your actions and decisions. When you know precisely what you are aiming for, you are able to focus, prioritize, and measure progress effectively. The first step is to define your goals in specific terms. Vague intentions like "I want to improve" or "I want to succeed" create uncertainty and lack actionable meaning. Clearly articulate what success looks like in each area of your life. Identify measurable outcomes, set deadlines, and be as detailed as possible. This specificity converts abstract desire into concrete targets and gives you a reference point to evaluate your progress. Once goals are clear, break them into manageable steps. Large goals can feel overwhelming, creating procrastination or anxiety. By dividing a goal into smaller, achievable tasks, each step becomes actionable and less intimidating. For example, if your goal is to write a book, start with writing a single page daily, outlining chapters, or researching for 1 hour each day. Small steps accumulate and eventually produce the larger outcome, making ambitious objectives attainable. Prioritize your steps according to impact and sequence. Not all tasks are equal in importance. Identify which actions will move you forward the fastest and tackle those first. This focus ensures your energy and time are invested efficiently. Addressing high-leverage actions before lower-impact tasks accelerates progress and builds confidence, reinforcing the habit of structured goal pursuit. Consistency is crucial. Goals are not achieved in a single effort, but through repeated, disciplined action over time. Commit to working on steps daily or regularly according to a schedule that fits your life. Habits formed around these steps automate progress, reduce mental friction, and maintain forward momentum even when motivation fluctuates. Small, consistent efforts compound into meaningful results. Track your progress systematically. Document completed tasks, milestones reached, and challenges encountered. Monitoring progress allows you to see growth, make adjustments, and maintain accountability. Without tracking, it is easy to underestimate achievement or overlook areas that require more focus. Visualizing your progress keeps motivation high and reinforces the connection between effort and outcome. Flexibility is essential. While goals provide direction, rigid adherence without adaptation can lead to frustration. Life circumstances, unexpected obstacles, or new information may require adjustments. Regularly review your goals and steps, and modify them when necessary while keeping the ultimate objective in mind. This balance between structure and adaptability ensures steady progress despite changing circumstances. Breaking goals into steps also allows for manageable focus. Concentrate on completing one task at a time rather than being overwhelmed by the entire goal. Each task completed provides a sense of accomplishment and fuels momentum for the next step. Focusing on incremental progress maintains clarity, reduces stress, and reinforces self-discipline. Clarity in goal setting also improves decision-making. Every choice can be evaluated against your goals. Does this action bring me closer to the desired outcome or not? Using goals as a decision-making framework prevents distractions, avoids wasted energy, and ensures alignment with long-term priorities. Decisions become easier, faster, and more purposeful when guided by well-defined objectives. Visualizing success strengthens commitment and action. Imagine yourself achieving the goal, experiencing the results, and living the benefits of your effort. Visualization reinforces motivation, clarifies the steps needed, and primes your mind to act confidently. When you see the end clearly, the path becomes easier to navigate, and the necessary steps feel more compelling. Accountability increases follow-through. Share your goals or progress with a trusted friend, mentor, or community. External accountability encourages consistency and provides feedback that can improve planning and execution. It also reinforces discipline by adding a layer of social expectation, ensuring that goals remain a priority even when internal motivation dips. Time management plays a critical role. Assign specific time blocks for working on steps toward your goals, and treat them as non-negotiable appointments with yourself. Structured scheduling ensures that progress is continuous, prevents procrastination, and maintains focus on the most important tasks. Proper allocation of time aligns daily effort with long-term objectives. Reflection enhances efficiency. Regularly review what is working, what is not, and where adjustments are needed. Identify obstacles or inefficiencies and develop strategies to overcome them. Reflection ensures that effort remains productive and aligned with the ultimate goal, preventing wasted energy and improving overall strategy. Celebrate milestones to reinforce momentum. Acknowledging completion of steps, even small ones, strengthens confidence, motivation, and commitment. Each milestone serves as proof that your plan works and that your consistent effort produces results. These celebrations reinforce a positive feedback loop, making it easier to continue working toward the next step and ultimately the entire goal. Resilience develops through structured goal setting. Challenges, setbacks, or delays are inevitable, but when goals are broken into manageable steps, it becomes easier to recover and continue. Each small step completed builds confidence and reduces the fear of failure. Over time, resilience grows naturally as consistent progress demonstrates that obstacles can be overcome systematically. Goals also create a sense of purpose. When your daily actions are linked to meaningful objectives, work feels more intentional and rewarding. Purposeful effort sustains motivation, increases satisfaction, and strengthens commitment to long-term outcomes. Aligning actions with goals transforms ordinary routines into meaningful contributions to your vision of success. Breaking goals into steps reduces decision fatigue. When a clear roadmap exists, there is less mental effort spent deciding what to do next. You know exactly what action is required, allowing focus to remain on execution rather than deliberation. Reducing unnecessary mental strain preserves energy and maintains efficiency in pursuing objectives. Discipline is reinforced through structured steps. Each task completed builds the habit of following through, strengthens self-control, and trains the mind to execute on commitments. Repeatedly achieving small steps conditions the brain to act with consistency and perseverance, creating a foundation for achieving even more complex goals in the future. The combination of clear goals, actionable steps, and consistent effort compounds over time into substantial achievement. Progress becomes visible, momentum grows, and confidence strengthens. Each completed step reinforces the belief that ambitious objectives are attainable and that success is built through structured, intentional action rather than luck or inspiration alone. Ultimately, setting clear goals and breaking them into manageable steps transforms vision into reality. It converts vague ambition into practical action, creates accountability, builds resilience, and strengthens self-discipline. By committing to this method, you ensure that every effort counts, every day moves you forward, and every challenge becomes an opportunity to advance toward your most important objectives. Chapter 18. Track your emotions and respond rather than react automatically. Mastering your life begins with mastering your emotions, because uncontrolled reactions steal your power and clarity. Emotions are signals, not commands, and the ability to observe them allows you to respond deliberately rather than react impulsively. Automatic reactions often create unnecessary conflict, stress, and regret, because they bypass rational thinking and conscious choice. By tracking your emotions and understanding their triggers, you gain insight into yourself and create the space to act with intention. The first step is awareness. Notice the moment emotions arise without trying to suppress or ignore them. Awareness allows you to separate feeling from action and prevents impulsive responses that may harm relationships, productivity, or personal growth. Simply observing what you feel and when it occurs establishes a foundation for conscious management. Identify patterns in your emotional responses. Reflect on situations that consistently provoke stress, anger, or fear. Recognizing recurring triggers helps you anticipate and prepare for reactions, reducing the likelihood of being overwhelmed. Patterns reveal vulnerabilities and areas where proactive strategies can replace instinctive reactions with measured choices. Label emotions precisely. Avoid vague descriptors like bad mood or upset. Use specific terms such as frustrated, anxious, disappointed, or irritated. Precise labeling enhances understanding and allows you to address the root cause rather than just the surface feeling. It transforms emotional awareness into actionable knowledge. Documenting emotions regularly strengthens awareness. Maintain a journal or log of your feelings, noting the circumstances, intensity, and your initial response. Writing down emotions externalizes them and provides clarity, reducing mental clutter and enabling thoughtful analysis. Over time, this record becomes a powerful tool for understanding trends and progress. Pause before acting. Emotional impulses are strongest immediately after they arise. Introducing even a brief pause allows reason to guide your decisions. Take a few deep breaths, count to 10, or step away momentarily. This small act interrupts automatic reactions and creates the opportunity for a considered response aligned with your values and goals. Develop a set of response strategies. For recurring emotions, create actionable steps that you can take when feelings arise. If anxiety strikes, engage in deep breathing, physical movement, or a focused task. If anger emerges, choose calm communication or a temporary retreat to cool down. Having predetermined responses converts emotional energy into constructive action instead of reactive behavior. Practice mindfulness to enhance emotional control. Focus on present sensations, thoughts, and feelings without judgment. Mindfulness cultivates observation skills and strengthens the ability to notice emotions without being consumed by them. When practiced consistently, it becomes easier to respond thoughtfully rather than be driven by instinctive reactions. Shift perspective to reduce emotional intensity. Ask yourself whether the current situation will matter in 1 day, 1 week, or 1 year. This cognitive reframing reduces the emotional charge and provides clarity for rational action. Perspective allows you to respond in alignment with long-term priorities rather than short-term impulses. Strengthen emotional resilience through reflection. After emotionally charged situations, review your responses and evaluate what worked and what did not. Identify moments where automatic reactions occurred and consider alternative strategies. Reflection fosters learning, improves future responses, and gradually reduces the frequency of unproductive reactions. Set boundaries to protect emotional space. Emotional triggers often arise from overextension, lack of personal limits, or exposure to negativity. Clearly define your limits in relationships, work, and personal commitments. Boundaries reduce unnecessary emotional activation and create the conditions for more controlled, deliberate responses. Use physical practices to manage emotion. Movement, exercise, and controlled breathing influence the nervous system and modulate emotional intensity. Even brief physical activity can reduce stress, improve focus, and support rational decision-making. Integrating these practices into daily routines strengthens your ability to respond rather than react. Cultivate supportive environments. Surround yourself with people who encourage reflection, patience, and thoughtful communication. Environments that reinforce impulsive reactions amplify emotional volatility, whereas environments that model self-control and conscious response strengthen your capacity to act deliberately. Anchor yourself in values and principles. When emotions arise, evaluate actions against your core values. Responding in alignment with principles reinforces integrity, self-respect, and long-term success. Decisions made under emotional pressure become more constructive when guided by a consistent framework of personal standards. Practice empathy and perspective-taking. Recognize that others' actions often stem from their own experiences and limitations. Understanding context reduces reactive emotional responses and encourages thoughtful engagement. Empathy allows you to respond calmly, maintain relationships, and act effectively even in challenging interactions. Gradually increase emotional tolerance. Expose yourself to minor frustrations or discomforts intentionally and observe your reactions. Practicing deliberate response in low-stakes situations builds the capacity to manage stronger emotions in critical moments. Controlled exposure strengthens resilience and deepens self-mastery. Reinforce success with rewards. Acknowledge moments when you successfully respond rather than react. Positive reinforcement strengthens the neural pathways associated with conscious choice, making thoughtful responses increasingly automatic over time. Recognition encourages repetition and accelerates emotional growth. Balance reflection with action. While tracking and analyzing emotions is essential, it must be paired with practical steps that influence behavior. Identify small changes in habits, communication, or environment that reduce triggers and support deliberate responses. Action ensures that insight translates into meaningful change. Develop patience as a core skill. Emotional impulses often demand immediate resolution, but delaying response allows clarity and wisdom to guide actions. Practicing patience transforms emotional energy into productive outcomes and reduces regret associated with impulsive decisions. Over time, patience becomes a natural aspect of your response strategy. Ultimately, tracking emotions and responding intentionally transforms personal and professional life. It cultivates self-mastery, reduces conflict, strengthens relationships, and enhances productivity. Each conscious pause, deliberate choice, and mindful reflection reinforces your ability to act with control and clarity. By consistently observing, analyzing, and responding, you convert emotional energy into purposeful action and reclaim authority over your mind, your reactions, and your life. Chapter 19. Simplify commitments to protect focus, clarity, and sustainable energy. Clarity and progress require intentional focus, and the first step toward mastering your life is to simplify your commitments so your energy is directed where it matters most. Overcommitting creates hidden drains on your time, attention, and motivation, leaving little room for meaningful work or personal growth. When too many obligations compete for your focus, you fragment your energy, reduce effectiveness, and experience constant stress. Simplifying commitments allows you to reclaim control, prioritize what truly matters, and sustain effort toward your most important goals. Begin by auditing your current obligations. List every task, responsibility, and commitment you have in your personal and professional life. Seeing everything in one place exposes areas where energy is scattered and identifies activities that do not align with your priorities. This process brings awareness to hidden drains that silently erode focus and clarity. Evaluate each commitment against your core values and long-term goals. Ask whether the activity contributes meaningfully to your purpose, growth, or well-being. If it does not, consider reducing, delegating, or eliminating it entirely. Saying no to unnecessary obligations is not selfish. It is a strategic choice that protects your capacity to invest in what truly matters. Learn to prioritize ruthlessly. Not all commitments are equal, and energy spent on low-value tasks reduces your ability to excel in high-priority areas. Identify your top 3 to 5 commitments that will produce the most meaningful impact. Focus on executing these well rather than spreading yourself thin across multiple inconsequential responsibilities. Depth of effort always outweighs breadth in producing results and satisfaction. Set boundaries to protect your time and energy. Communicate clearly with others about availability, deadlines, and limitations. Protecting your focus is not about avoiding responsibility, but about ensuring that commitments are manageable and sustainable. Boundaries reduce stress, prevent burnout, and allow consistent attention toward high-priority activities. Streamline recurring obligations. Review routine tasks to determine whether they can be simplified, automated, or delegated. Small adjustments like batching similar tasks, using productivity tools, or creating templates save time and mental energy. Reducing unnecessary friction in daily routines frees cognitive resources for more meaningful work. Eliminate distractions masquerading as commitments. Some obligations are invisible drains, such as social pressures, outdated habits, or necessary meetings. Recognize and remove these hidden energy leaks. Freeing yourself from non-essential activities increases focus, restores clarity, and enhances mental and emotional energy for tasks that truly matter. Practice saying no strategically. Each time a new opportunity arises, evaluate its alignment with your priorities and capacity. Declining commitments that do not serve your purpose protects focus and allows sustained energy on meaningful work. Consistently making deliberate choices strengthens self-trust and builds a disciplined approach to managing obligations. Adopt a principle of minimalism in commitments. The fewer obligations you maintain, the more attention and excellence you can bring to each one. Quality of effort is magnified when energy is concentrated rather than divided. Simplifying your schedule allows deep focus, increased productivity, and higher quality outcomes. Regularly review commitments to maintain clarity. Life changes, and priorities evolve. Periodic reassessment ensures that your obligations remain aligned with your goals, values, and available energy. Removing outdated or misaligned commitments prevents wasted effort and maintains sustainable momentum over time. Delegate whenever possible. Effective delegation allows you to concentrate on tasks that require your unique skills or attention. Sharing responsibility with capable others reduces overload, preserves energy, and increases overall productivity. Trusting others with tasks also strengthens relationships and fosters collaboration. Batch tasks to minimize cognitive switching. Frequent transitions between activities drain focus and energy. Grouping similar tasks together reduces mental fatigue and enhances efficiency. Focused blocks of time for specific responsibilities allow deeper engagement, higher quality work, and faster completion. Protect mental energy by simplifying decision-making. Every commitment adds to cognitive load and increases the number of decisions you must make daily. Reducing non-essential obligations reduces decision fatigue, freeing mental capacity for choices that matter most. Structured routines, clear priorities, and deliberate focus simplify daily life and maximize cognitive resources. Learn to embrace minimalism in personal life as well. Social, entertainment, and recreational commitments can also consume energy if not aligned with values and priorities. Be selective with where and how you invest time outside work. Purposeful engagement prevents exhaustion and enhances enjoyment and satisfaction. Establish routines that support sustainable energy levels. Simplified commitments allow consistent time for rest, reflection, and rejuvenation. Protecting these periods ensures that energy is replenished regularly, making high-performance focus possible over the long term. Sustainable energy is the foundation of clarity, productivity, and resilience. Use technology wisely to maintain simplicity. Tools and apps can automate repetitive tasks, remind you of deadlines, and streamline communication. Avoid digital clutter by unsubscribing from unnecessary notifications, reducing constant interruptions, and focusing only on essential inputs. Technology should serve your energy and attention, not fragment it. Measure the impact of simplification. Track productivity, energy levels, and focus after reducing commitments. Notice improvements in efficiency, clarity, and emotional well-being. Observing positive outcomes reinforces the importance of maintaining a simplified approach and motivates continued refinement of obligations. Train yourself to evaluate new commitments carefully. Before accepting any additional responsibility, ask whether it aligns with your priorities, whether it adds meaningful value, and whether it is manageable alongside current obligations. This evaluation process ensures that simplification is maintained and prevents future overload. Simplifying commitments also strengthens resilience. By maintaining manageable responsibilities, you reduce stress and mental clutter, creating space to handle unexpected challenges effectively. Focused attention on essential tasks increases adaptability and problem-solving capacity, allowing you to respond to life's demands with composure and clarity. Ultimately, simplifying commitments is about reclaiming control over your time, energy, and focus. It allows you to concentrate on meaningful work, maintain clarity of mind, and sustain effort over the long term. Each eliminated or streamlined obligation increases capacity for growth, purpose, and impact. By consistently evaluating, refining, and prioritizing commitments, you protect what matters most and create a life of sustainable progress and achievement. Chapter 20. Celebrate small wins daily to reinforce progress and confidence. Every step forward matters, and recognizing progress daily is the key to building lasting confidence and sustained momentum. Celebrating small wins is not a superficial act of self-congratulation. It is a strategic method to reinforce positive behavior, acknowledge effort, and cultivate the mindset necessary for consistent growth. When progress is recognized, the brain associates effort with reward, making it easier to repeat productive actions and maintain long-term discipline. Begin by identifying tangible achievements each day. A win can be as simple as completing a task you have been postponing, making a healthier choice, or responding calmly in a difficult situation. Defining what constitutes a small win ensures that no progress is overlooked, and that every step toward your goals is acknowledged. Document each accomplishment. Writing down daily achievements, even minor ones, transforms abstract progress into visible evidence. This record creates motivation, reinforces self-awareness, and allows you to track patterns of consistency over time. Seeing repeated effort laid out reinforces the reality that your actions lead to tangible outcomes. Acknowledge effort, not just results. Often, people celebrate outcomes while ignoring the dedication, consistency, or courage it took to reach them. Recognizing effort strengthens self-trust and reinforces the habit of persistence, reminding you that progress is built through disciplined actions rather than luck or immediate success. Use small celebrations strategically. Celebrating a win can be a brief pause to reflect, a personal note of encouragement, or a small reward that does not undermine your larger goals. These moments of recognition create positive emotional feedback that encourages further action and reinforces the connection between effort and satisfaction. Reflect on wins to extract lessons. Each achievement carries insight about what works, how you succeed, and which strategies produce results. Reflection ensures that progress is not only recognized, but also understood and replicated. Learning from small victories creates a feedback loop that strengthens skills, decision-making, and confidence. Link daily wins to long-term goals. Recognizing small steps as part of a larger journey creates perspective and motivation. Each accomplished task, no matter how minor, is a building block that contributes to your ultimate objectives. Understanding this connection fosters patience, persistence, and sustained effort toward meaningful outcomes. Cultivate a mindset of gratitude around achievements. Feeling appreciation for your own progress reinforces confidence and emotional resilience. Gratitude allows you to focus on what is possible, acknowledge your capabilities, and maintain a positive outlook even when challenges remain. Celebrating wins becomes an act of self-respect and acknowledgement of growth. Avoid comparing your wins to others. The purpose of celebrating small successes is to reinforce your own progress, not measure against external standards. Comparison diminishes motivation and distracts from your unique path. Focusing on personal achievement ensures that recognition builds internal confidence rather than external validation. Share victories selectively to enhance accountability. Communicating achievements to a trusted friend, mentor, or community can reinforce motivation and provide encouragement. Sharing progress strengthens social support, reinforces commitment, and inspires others, but it should be done with intention to maintain focus on personal growth rather than external approval. Visual reinforcement strengthens celebration. Create a visual record of accomplishments through notes, charts, or digital tools. Seeing your progress visually emphasizes consistency, highlights growth patterns, and provides an ongoing reminder of your ability to succeed. This tangible feedback reinforces confidence and promotes continued effort. Recognize incremental improvement, not only perfection. Progress often occurs gradually, and celebrating small gains keeps motivation high even when the overall goal feels distant. Acknowledging incremental advancement prevents discouragement and cultivates patience, persistence, and a realistic appreciation for effort and time invested. Use reflection to maintain perspective on growth. Each small win offers insight into how your behavior, choices, and discipline produce results. Reflecting on these moments helps you understand what strategies are effective, reinforces productive habits, and builds confidence in your ability to navigate future challenges. Link celebrations to emotional reinforcement. Associating positive feelings with progress creates a neural pattern that motivates repetition. When the brain experiences satisfaction after achieving small steps, it becomes more inclined to continue constructive behaviors. Emotional reinforcement strengthens the habit of consistent effort over time. Incorporate recognition into routines. Make a habit of reviewing the day's achievements before ending each day. This daily ritual trains your mind to focus on growth and progress rather than shortcomings or distractions. Routine reflection ensures that small wins are consistently acknowledged and internalized. Balance celebration with humility. Recognizing wins should foster confidence, not arrogance. Maintaining humility allows continuous learning, adaptability, and the motivation to pursue further growth. Confidence paired with humility creates resilience and reinforces a grounded approach to personal development. Leverage celebrations to reinforce habits. Each small win validates consistent action and strengthens the mental association between effort and reward. This reinforcement promotes repetition, making productive habits more automatic, and establishes a foundation for achieving larger goals with less friction and hesitation. Create a reward system that aligns with values. Rewards should support your long-term vision rather than distract from it. Aligning recognition with meaningful reinforcement ensures that celebration strengthens focus, confidence, and motivation without undermining progress or priorities. Observe the ripple effect of small wins. Recognizing one accomplishment often inspires confidence to tackle additional tasks. Momentum builds through repeated acknowledgement of effort, creating an upward cycle of achievement and reinforcing belief in your ability to succeed consistently. Celebrate resilience as well as results. Overcoming obstacles, persisting through challenges, and maintaining effort despite setbacks are victories in themselves. Recognizing resilience nurtures self-trust, reinforces persistence, and ensures that confidence is grounded in competence, determination, and consistent action. Ultimately, celebrating small wins daily transforms progress into motivation, discipline into confidence, and effort into results. Recognition of each step forward strengthens self-belief, reinforces productive habits, and creates a mindset focused on growth and achievement. By consistently acknowledging and honoring your progress, you cultivate a life of sustained improvement, unwavering confidence, and meaningful accomplishment.